Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the stream. How are we all doing out there, man? We good? How's it hanging? The week started. Hopefully, it's been a good start for you. It's good to see ya. So, today, guys, we're going to be back on some Aether Gazer. We are going to, as well, check out a couple of videos. Just a little quick FYI. Got to get it out there. Quick plug. I did upload a video today. Check it out. Just discussing my, not so much issues, but some of the things I've just picked up from the story and things I think about the story in Wuthering Waves and some things that maybe potentially I'd like to see change and just some kind of food for thought, basically. And I'd like to see what your guys' opinions are on that video as well. So if you do get a chance, go check it out. Let me know what you think. If you do enjoy the video, drop a like on it as well. And yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think as well. It's very much appreciated. Feedback is always welcome. And I want to hear your guys' opinions. And as well, if you're watching the stream right now, be sure to drop a little like on the stream. It's very much appreciated. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you are doing well. Jamie, welcome to the stream. What's going on, Jose Carranza? Welcome to the stream as well. How are we doing, guys? Are we doing good? It's good to see you. Good to see you. So, yeah, I've got a couple of videos I was going to check out, actually. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little look. Yeah, how are we doing anyway? We all good? So yeah, I wanted to watch a video. Actually, it's a couple of months old, this video is, but it's still kind of pertinent to things I've been thinking. So we'll have a little look at that in a minute. He's talking about what happened with Wuthering Waves in the CBT versus 1.0 release. Because I watched some of the cutscenes from CBT 1 and I was like, damn, dude, that was kind of sick. So, you know, curious about that. I'm going to watch another video as well, talking about the male character problem in Wuthering Waves. We spoke about it before. Let's speak about it again, you know? Yap. Let's yap. I'm gonna yap. Oh, as well, we'll talk about a post from the Wuthering Waves developer regarding leaks. I did speak about these yesterday. I'm gonna pull back from showing any leaks in videos. We'll talk about stuff because I think it's important to talk about stuff that's potentially upcoming. Not so much. We're never going to talk about story leaks. That's what we don't do there. We don't do story leaks because I think that just ruins the game. But, you know, potential things that might get added to the game that I've spoken about. We'll definitely talk about those sort of things, but we won't be doing, like, gameplay stuff, you know? Like, we have shown off a little bit of Camillea's gameplay and Lumi's gameplay. We're going to back off on that because they don't want it. And you know what? I'm going to respect Kuro on that at the end of the day. So we'll have a look at this post from the Wuthering Waves developers as well, which is kind of interesting. Speaking on that again. Seems like they're taking things a step further. They're getting a little bit miffed by the looks of things. But yo, guys, if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to drop a like on the stream. It's very much appreciated. We ain't gonna mess around today. We're gonna get straight into it because I'm running late. And I'll tell you why I'm running late. I'll be honest. I made my video, right? Got it edited, put it together. I was like, okay, all right, sweet. Seems okay. got all my audio levels sorted, clipped it together, put the gameplay footage in, you know, did the thing, did the normal thing. Processed the video, made the thumbnail, uploaded the video, getting ready to publish it, and typically I like to just watch back the videos, or at least skim through them just to make sure I haven't made any errors. And I was watching through it and I was like, wait a minute. You know when you've like got a bit of dry mouth? And you get like, I had like these little bit of white bit on my lip, man. And it just kept popping up now and again and then disappearing and popping up. And I was like, oh my God, that's triggering me. Because whenever I watch a video and I see that when somebody's making a video, and we've all had it, you know, it just happens. I'd just come back from the gym and I made the video straight away. And I was like, dude, I can't stop looking at that. So I know the people are going to be looking at that. So I've tried to edit the video together. So when you see my face cam disappear, you know where my little friend had popped up to say hello there. So it took me a little bit longer to get the video done. Yeah, we're running late today. We're running late. You know, it is what it is. What can you do, eh? What can you do? Can't do nothing. I'd dry mouth. Okay then. Alright. Let's get into it, shall we? Should we get into it? Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Appreciate everybody stopping by as well, guys. Thank you very much. Hopefully, did you have a good weekend as well in the end, guys? How was your weekend, man? Was it good? Did you get up to much? Started watching a show, actually. I can't remember if it was on Friday. I think we started watching it on Friday or Saturday. Called Teacup. Actually, kind of interesting. I'm liking it so far. You should check it out if you're into those sort of shows. Anyway, it's kind of like, well, it starts off with just this family living on a farm, and you kind of get the idea something's going wrong. The animals are getting freaked out, and then a dude turns up and basically spray paints a ring around the farm and says, "Don't go beyond the line," right? And there's a woman in the woods who attacks the son, and you see some sort of transference happen, and then you figure out that when you go beyond the line, you die an incredibly violent, painful death, like you just basically almost turn inside out. And it's getting interesting. It's actually getting interesting. I won't go any further than that. But that's kind of the premise of the show. It's one of those, you know, where you're just like, what is going on? So yeah, been enjoying that actually. So check that out. Teacup, it's called. Teacup. Alright then. Shall we get into the swing of things then, shall we? Shall we hop into it? What's going on, Kanai Party? Welcome to the stream. How's it going? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. It might be an evening where you are.
So today I'm going to be going over why the CBT store...
YouTube, pause. There we go. All right. Yeah, again, guys, if you haven't checked out my video earlier, check it out. Show some love. It's appreciated. All right, then. Okay, let's check out this video from Noct, a small content creator. This is an older video, actually. The reason this caught my eye, because in yesterday's stream, we were just chilling out, hanging out, and somebody was like, oh, dude, watch some of the footage from CBT1. I wasn't involved in CBT1, but the actual initial fight between Rover and the Crownless, it was the old cutscene, and I loved it. I thought it was actually really cool. Of course, animations have all got better and stuff since then, but the premise and the style was, it was darker. It was way cooler, in my opinion, and it got me thinking, you know, it's kind of a shame in that regard. You know, the story kind of got ripped up, didn't it? And we've got the story we've got now. So let's check out this video, kind of talking about that. What happened? Wuthering Waves CBT1 versus Release 1.0. Why did they remove the story? Because I'm interested about this, because we spoke multiple times about things like Calcharo, kind of feeling like the remnant from the old game, and Danjin, and we've heard nothing about these characters. We might do in the future, you know, but I just feel like that's part of why we haven't as well. So let's have a little look what this person's got to say about this. Let's drop a preemptive like, show some love. Noct, let's see what the content's saying and what they've got to say about it then, shall we?
So today I'm going to be going over why the CBT story was so much better than a
1.0
release by comparing the Crownless fight in the two versions. And this is a
Such
direct
a badass
response to
cutscene, this
all of
was.
you and all of the negative comments that I received around my new player experience needs work in Wuthering Waves. Now, everyone is entitled to...
Now, one thing I will say, I think from a new player experience, I think it's pretty good in Wuthering Waves. I must admit. I think the story in 1.0 has its ups and downs. like any game. It has a few points where it's not great. You know, let's be honest, it's not great. But I'm an enjoyer of 1.0. I think towards the end it got really good and it finished in with a decent bang, to be fair. But yeah, in terms of story, there's some parts where it's like, okay, this is getting a little bit sloppy. But as a new player experience in the game in general, I think it's actually pretty good, actually.
To their own opinion, but if you live in this bubble and you believe that constructive
This
criticism
cutscene was
and
fire, though.
disagreements are offensive, then you may want to click off this video.
As well, I must say, this is becoming not an issue with the wider community. It's easy to paint the community with this brush. But I've noticed, I definitely do think there's a little bit of a toxic positivity building within the community of Wuthering Waves. And I think there's quite a few content creators in the space who are predominantly Wuthering Waves content creators who are just like hyper glaze machines. And even when they're like pretending they're making a video that's being critical, it's not really. It's kind of just like a video that's a glaze video, kind of hidden, if that makes sense. And I agree with this. We definitely do need to be critical of the game. Even more so, if you like something, you should be more critical of it than something you dislike. And I think with a game developer like Kuro who listen, even more reason to. And it feels like sometimes when you make those criticisms, people get a little bit mad about that. And it's not going to do the game any good or us as consumers. Be critical, make your points valid, and get them out there. Get your opinions out there, and don't let other people tell you that you can't be critical of the game, because definitely noticing toxic positivity in the community.
Now. And to the rest of you, welcome to my CBT versus 1.0 and all the story that we missed out on at release. Now, while I believe that 1.0 looks better, I think that overall the content underneath is much worse. Right? All it is a bunch of voice lines that are not really well acted or well directed. And then we're just pressing F or skip a bunch of times to get through a bunch of...
I must admit, I didn't do this, but I do think direction, specifically for Rover, was really poor in 1.0. They've definitely improved. Voice acting overall has improved on the game, hasn't it? Specifically, two characters that I really think about when with the voice acting, Yang Yang and Rover, especially female Rover. As I play female Rover, I know more about that. Wasn't great, was he? Wasn't great at all. A lot better now. I still think Rover needs some work here and there. I don't know if it is still a direction point or it's just confidence of the voice act at range. I don't know, you know, I don't quite know. But now and again, certain voice lines, I'm like, I don't know, man, that just didn't really hit. But it's definitely got better. Definitely got better.
Lines that really add no value to the story. Even when it gets to the boss fight, it's not very climactic.
Hey, what's up, gachas?
It just feels like we're doing another tutorial fight. There's no backstory. There's no real character development of these units that we just met. We just go into this fight where we're separated.
I think that's one of the, again, I just made a video talking about the story. I think character development is one of the biggest problems in Wuthering Waves, if I'm honest. I want to see more of it. I've said I want to see more character development of the roster as well, separate from Rover. I want to see more stories from their perspective. But I do want to see more character development of Rover as well. She's a bit of a MacGuffin. And I get that. That's kind of what she is. It's part of the role, if you listen to Theory Crafters. But at the same time, yeah, I want to see a little bit more. But minus all that, this cutscene from CBT1 was badass. The Crownless seemed a threat. It was dark. It was just cool. Way cooler than what we got in the main game.
And we have to fight this enemy. Now, in CBT1, it was a much longer cutscene. Everyone's affected by the reverberation. The tacit field appears, and here comes the Crownless, menacing. He has dialogue that adds so much to building up the enemy and seeing that they speak
badass.
like this is a special boss that we're fighting, just not another ad. Everyone's confused, and of course, Chisia tries to shoot it. Boom, it gets absolutely obliterated. Baizha tries to use her companion. It gets absolutely owned, right? There's an actual fight where we're losing, right? We're not just overpowered. And of course...
Do you remember either guys, have you seen Skill Chain Animations? There's 2 videos of their compilations. I might have to have a look, actually, because I was actually quite pleasantly surprised by the skill chain. They're really cool, actually.
He steals our sword and tries to kill us, but here comes Yang Yang to save the day. Now, if you ever wondered why there was such a close relationship with Yang Yang in the later acts, it's because she was such a crucial part of the beginning story. This is what we missed out on for the new player experience in 1.0. My criticism was based on the fact that we had an amazing story that was removed. Look at Yang Yang. She's going to sacrifice herself to save us. That's character development that was missing from the 1.0 story release. Look at all the characters, they're all worried. Now, obviously, facial animation could have been improved. They did that in 1.0, they showed us they could do it, but the fact that we're losing, right, that adds to the whole feeling of the story. We're not just...
Just makes it more ominous, doesn't he? Really makes it more ominous.
This overpowered character that comes into this world and knows how to do everything. We're losing. There's consequence and sacrifice.
That walk towards you as well there.
Right here, we're seeing Yang Yang pretty much overclocking. We think she's dead, right? And I know it's early on. We don't have a lot of attachment, but she just saved our life. That's a lot better than what we had. And of course, he has more dialogue, and I love the revenge arc here. You won't feel anything soon. We have a reason to fight. This is what we missed out on 1.0. Now, if we take a look back at the 1.0 release, I will admit that it is much more polished. The combat looks more...
Definitely. That's like, you know, that's a given anyway, isn't it? I must say, though, it is a lot better. Like, when you watch the combat from that, it looks way better now. But yeah, man, that intro cutscene was fire.
Fluid, the animations
absolute
are
fire.
better. The UI looks better, the character design. Overall, I think it is a better experience. I think the tutorial is probably better explained as well. But that being said, 3 question marks doesn't show any type of an imposing enemy. It just feels like another tutorial fight.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like, hey, we're fighting this Crownless unit that had all this backstory in the CBT. It just feels like it's another rushed ad that we need to get through to learn these new combat.
Literally, he does, like, and I get it, like, you know, anyway, it would have been this tutorial fight to kind of show you some of the mechanics, well, more of the mechanics, because you learned a little bit anyway. But that's all it felt like in 1.0. Watching that cutscene makes it feel much more than that. It's into this introduction straight away to this, okay, this enemy's different to the ones you've faced before. This is something with power, with ferocity, and with, like, a dark consciousness as well, isn't it? Like, and it is a shame that we've lost that. I must admit, it would have been cool to keep that.
Mechanics. Now, I will admit they do a very good job of explaining how the combat works in the game. I said it in the first video, I'm saying it here, but I feel like we missed out on a lot of the story potential from CBT. And while this finale is great, I do have to say that I think the CBT did it better. I mean, honestly, everyone is completely fine. They were just standing around doing nothing. There's like, oh my god, Yang Yang Rover, we just met you, but we're so worried about you. Were you hurt? It's like, I don't care. There's no investment, right? It's just like, okay, more monotonous dialogue where we press F or skip through it. It's nothing that has any real value. Now, if we take a look...
It's a dirty skipper.
Look at the CBT, you can see that it's not as polished, though this might be your artistic style, and that's totally fine. I think overall 1.0 looks better, but I think combat-wise, it's exactly the same, right? But I can appreciate that they gave us a mid-fight cutscene. Like, that's just the icing on the cake, right? And now we go back to fighting, we get the phase 2. I think this spear animation is much better than what we got in 1.0. I don't know. I love that black and white. It was pretty cool.
That transition from like the cutscene into the combat, the way they did that black and white, like sepia kind of transition was pretty dope, actually.
From like Black Clover going back and forth, I love it. But again, we have the same tutorial here, but you're more invested because of all that backstory. Now, sure, we don't get the finale, but we finish him off just the same. Now, one of the biggest differences between both versions is how all these extra characters react after we finish off the Crownless, right? We go into this whole, hey, do you know what this is? You know, have you heard of an echo or reverberation, right? And everyone's just chill, relaxed, whatever. And then after a bunch of monotonous dialogue, we go ahead and do our cutscene where we suck the echo directly into the body. And it's cool and all, and the animation looks fine.
I was going to say, in CBT1, like, didn't Shia just point a gun at your head as well and like, what the fuck and who the fuck are you? Which is kind of, because like that, you know, what Rover did was something that nobody else could do. He's kind of like, wait a minute, are you a good guy?
But you'll see the reaction, like everyone just like, oh, that's so cool. How did you do that, right? And everyone's so positive about it. And I just think that compared to the CBT, this is much worse. Now in the CBT, at the exact same point, we just defeated the Crownless and we throw our gourd. And it seems to be straight out of muscle memory because we don't even know why we did it. In fact, when we approach it, we wonder, what is this, right? We get a hit with this spell of like amnesia, and the other being kind of comes out and shows us that, hey, there isn't a lot of time left. Instead of saying the whole, I'm starving thing just to be very joking and kiddie, it seems much more polished here, where we're sucking this up because we have to, and because there's a good reason to do so. And then Honestly, the flashback that we get
Yeah,
here
that was cool as
is
well, that bit is.
miles ahead of what we
Yeah,
got in
agreed. The
1.0.
flashback
I don't know why
scene's
they
really
changed
cool.
this. The artistic style, the black and white, is just much, much better. And I don't know. I feel like the other one fine, but I think this represents what that whole backstory is supposed to be. And it doesn't end there. Look at the reaction we get from Chisius. He's
Because, like, it gives you a history to the character, like, straight away, doesn't he? And again, like, Chishia just, like, being like, wait a minute, what the fuck, bro?
holding a gun to your head because you're this new being. They don't trust you. They don't know you. This is much more believable than the 1.0 story where everyone's buddy-buddy. In fact, if it isn't for Baizha trying to save Yang Yang and explaining the possibility of what you just did, you'd probably be dead, right? So I think this adds a lot more investment because they don't know who you are. You don't know who you are, right? And at this point, everyone's just working together to try to make things happen, to try to save Yang Yang. And the way they introduce overclocking is so much better, and I hope that I can one day see what the rest of the story looked like. But right now, I am much more invested in Baizha and Yang Yang. Even in Chisia,
It makes them three way more interesting as well. Not only makes the rover more interesting, the relationship between the rover and the group more interesting from somebody who's just met and done this wild shit in front of them, and then how they naturally react of like, okay, wait a minute, this ain't normal. Nobody else can do this. What the frick did you just do? You know what I mean? Why is that dude appearing up to deal with you like this? What's going on? You know, then it makes them like, you know, it gives more emphasis to them as well because they've been involved in the fight in a lot more closer way. You know, we've got to see Yang Yang almost overclock. It gives you an emphasis of like, this is what can happen as well, and what has happened to many resonators, and the threat of putting too much into a fight and stuff. And it does it in a lot better way. I must admit that, definitely.
yeah, because there's an actual story here. You're on a mission to save Yang Yang, and look at how badass Baizha is. This feels straight out of an anime, out of a TV show. Like, it's really good, and I feel much more invested than when she said 2 lines to us and just walks away in 1.0. I think this is much better, but again, everyone's opinion is going to be subjective, and you might not like the fact that they had a much more drawn-out story. Now, I disagree with everyone who says go pick Mint. Your ignorance is the reason why we lost this story. The fact that such a small community of beta testers had such a large voice to influence Kuro game.
True. This is why I say people should be critical of stuff they love, and even more so when you love something. And obviously, the beta test, if you wasn't involved, you couldn't voice your opinion in that regard. But this is why the majority of people should try and voice their opinion, because then you don't get a minority controlling the direction of the game, because it's obvious Crow listen, you know, they listen to feedback and they act upon it. So if we only allow a small minority of vocal people control the direction, we're not going to get a direction that represents the majority. And I don't know how everybody else feels, but I would have definitely preferred this direction off the get-go. I think the story would have been way more impactful, and probably you would have had a lot of people who got turned off the game initially probably wouldn't have done so from the very start. We went from this kind of like dark, almost foreboding start to this more fluffy friendship kind of start, didn't we? Which I think that was definitely better in my opinion. And I didn't even get to play it, but just watching it, it's better than what we got. Now, I don't know what the rest of the story would have looked like. Can't comment on that. But yeah, man, it's a shame that we didn't get this.
Games to get rid of such an amazing story is really a shame. I really don't know where the sentiment of the story being too long came from. It was a well-written arc. Maybe it wasn't the best, but it was a million times better than what we received in the end product. And this is where one of my contention points comes from, and why I've made some videos where I worry about Kuro, because they take all of this echo chamber from a select group of people and implement these changes, when overall I think a majority of the players would have much appreciated to play some of that story versus rushing through to get to UL 45 to grind out my gold echoes. Like, yes, that's a fun part of the game, but you shouldn't overwrite the existing story.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. That's why having a skip option should be there, so the people who just want to speed run the story can speed run the story and get to what they want to do. Or you shouldn't be like, right, then let's water the story down. Just allow the skip button like we have. And then if people don't want to play it, they can just skip it. Allow the skippers to skip and allow the people who want to enjoy the story. Don't worry about trying to cater to both. Well, let's make a story that the skippers don't want to skip. The skippers are going to skip because they want to get to the content at the end of the day. That's it. It doesn't matter if you're yapping for 10 seconds or you're yapping for 2 minutes. I'd rather yapping for 2 minutes that's impactful than 20 seconds of inane yapping that's not interesting me at all.
Just to allow players to experience the end game sooner. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Wuthering Waves. Whether it's weathering, withering, I don't care. I've been grinding through UL 4041. I've been trying to build 3 teams to tackle the final towers of adversity, and it's been an absolute blast. But that being said, I think we are missing on a huge component of what an RPG really is.
I do really need to build out my third. Well, I kind of need to build it. Because my second team's not really fleshed out. I kind of need to build out my third team at the moment because you can't really get away with a floating team now, can you? You kind of really need 3 teams, like at least 75% built. And I kind of don't have that. I have like a floating third team, which I need to build up now. And I'll probably do that around Camellia, I think, if I'm honest. I'm just going to wait and do that.
And that's the story. Now, I'm going to stop this rant here because I could probably go for a lot longer. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. I know the ratio is going to be all wonky again, and I just don't care because someone needs to have the voice of reason here. Now, please, again, continue to comment down below. We may disagree. We may have differing opinions, but I believe that discourse and discussion is so important for the longevity of this
definitely.
game.
I agree.
Before I give you my usual spiel asking you to subscribe to me, I highly advise everyone go check out C. Mike's channel. He has a lot of the CBT footage, and I think it would be a real value to see the full gameplay experience of what could have been. Now, with that out of the way, obviously, if you do enjoy my content, please do consider dropping a sub. It really helps the channel.
All right, great video, actually, from Noct. You know, I'm going to drop him a sub. I agree. What's the content saying? It looked too dark. The story's bad. I don't like girls hating me. Release. I wanted the world to look more dark. I like the direction of CBT. The story, I want it back. Player feedback can be a disaster. The direction went downhill just to please players who most likely don't even play the game at launch. Corona needs to stay true to itself and their vision. I agree with that. I think you should take on player feedback. I think it should always be listened to. Whether it should be acted upon, different conversation altogether. Because I think one thing us gamers are really good at doing, we'll point out problems left, right, and centre in video games, won't we? That's bad. That's wrong. That just trash. That could be better. Don't like this. Don't like that. But we rarely come up with solutions that work. And if we do, they typically tend to be quite selfish and aimed at ourselves, don't they? Because obviously we're one person. We're going to see things in the game that we don't like and things that we like and want the things we like and don't want the things we dislike. But that doesn't mean everybody else feels the same. This is why I say that sometimes closed betas can be a little bit problematic. And I feel like they probably listen to too many minority of dissenting voices in that regard. Now, obviously, the game's out now. It's been out for a few months. There's a lot wider player base to listen to, so that's a good thing. It allows them to listen to a broader sense in regards to opinions and viewpoints on the game. But I definitely do think Kuro should stick to what they believe in the story. And if it means we start kind of leaning back into that initial view, the original view, do it, Kuro. Don't let other people dictate the story. Gameplay and mechanics and, you know, the interactions, endgame, events, you know, leveling, XP, all these sort of things are things that I think the community should be heavily involved in. The story, we shouldn't be trying to write the story for Kuro. We should allow Kuro to do what they're doing. But at the same time, I think it's fair to call out certain things in the story and offer our viewpoint, because I think that's a good thing. I did that exactly in my last video, but I think they should also stick to what they believe. I feel that's why we've kind of got the story we've got now, where it feels like Rover's a bit of a MacGuffin, everybody fawns over her, where we saw right from the start in CBT1, that wasn't the case. Shia was like, wait a minute, who the fuck are you? I'm willing to put a bullet in your head right now if I don't figure out what's going on. Where the story we've got now, nobody would do that with Rover. Everybody's just like, she walks past and everybody's like, ah, you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the weaker parts of the Wuthering Wave story, if I'm honest, is that part where everybody loves the Rover. I'd like to see a little bit less of that. And it seemed like that was maybe what we was going to get from the initial story. And we lost a bit of that, didn't we? And that's a shame. But yeah, this is why I say, be critical of the things you love. Speak out and don't let other people speak for you. Problem with closed beta tests is only a small amount of people got to do that, didn't they? And listen to that minority as well, which was a shame. But still love the game, having a blast, wouldn't change it, apart from maybe that initial intro. But then again, though, the story that we might have got by now might have been trash compared to what we've got. We just don't know, do we? You know what I mean? We just don't know. But that initial cutscene was fire. Also, if you're reading story in AG, I really recommend to complete Vathandi's Heartlink, because for some reason the story of how the fuck admin got into Aether Gaze and why he's so important got thrown into the character mini story. Okay, interesting. See, like, I need to probably watch the initial cutscene and opening in the game again, because on PC, the PC client's trash. Well, it's not. It runs really well. From a performance standpoint, it's great. Mouse and keyboard controls ass. But when you first launch it up, it was in window mode for me, you know, and I had to play through the initial part of the story, and because I was on stream, I was fiddling with stuff. We ended up just skipping the part of the story right at the start. So I was like, I didn't really get the premise. So I kind of need to go back and do that actually. But now, obviously, I'm playing in 1440p, 120 FPS, playing on pad at the moment because the mouse and keyboard controls suck, and hopefully that gets fixed soon. I know it's been updated in China, so hopefully that gets sent over to us soon as well, because I just want to play with mouse and keyboard, if I'm honest. But I can't, because you have to hold to left click. But even when you do, sometimes I'll be attacking with right click, and then I'll like go to move again. I'll click the button down to drag the camera to turn, and the mouse just goes out the game window even though I'm full screen. And with this game, as soon as you click outside the window, it minimizes the game. So I'll be mid-combat, boom, game minimizes. It's like, oh my God, so frustrating. So I'm having to play with a pad. There's a summary of AG on YouTube. We might have to check that out at some point today, actually. Kazahana just uploaded a new vid saying Wuthering Waves is better than Genshin Impact. Oh, might have to check that out then. Might have to check that out. Shall have a little look. Shall have a little look. Is Wuthering Waves actually better than Genshin Impact?
So, Wuthering...
Alright, chat just told me about this one. Kazahan, a new video. Is Wuthering Waves actually better than Genshin Impact? This one literally just went up and we're on it. We're reacting right away. Is it actually better than Genshin Impact? At the end of the day, it's all preference. It's all subjective. My personal opinion, I think it is. You know, not in every way, but in the ways that matter to me, I think it's an improvement on Genshin Impact. Let's see what Kazahana's got to say. Very positive on Wuthering Waves, to be fair. So I can kind of expect what he's going to say, but let's see what he's got to say then.
So Wuthering Waves is finally ending the version 1.3 phase 1, with us moving on to some other updates coming into phase 2, which is obviously stuff like Yohu coming out, and also a ton of new events, which I actually talked about in my last video. And well, Black Shores really showed us where Wuthering Waves is at, and what kind of stuff that Kuro Games can bring to the overall gacha sphere, in terms of quality and just overall storytelling, character creation, and gameplay. I mean, everything has been absolutely...
Character creation, gameplay, peak. Top tier. Probably character creation up there with the best, if not the best in some regards. Gameplay, probably the best. Again, I said it in the video that I uploaded earlier. The run up to the boss fight, peak anime gacha gameplay, top tier. Story, great, but pacing issues. And just check out my last video. You'll see my thoughts on that, actually. But it's not as perfect as some people like to make out, in my opinion. It's got some issues, rather being a bit of a MacGuffin. And just... I want to see some different things, but let's watch this video.
Great. And obviously, since Wuthering Waves was first released, a lot of people have been comparing it to games like Genshin Impact, and they're still doing it to this day. Now, in this video, we're going to be going through a couple of posts I saw about some people comparing Wuthering Waves to Genshin Impact. Now, there's one person who doesn't seem to like Wuthering Waves that much, and there's also another person who seems to love Wuthering Waves a ton and thinks it's way better than Genshin, which again, I definitely think there are some points in this argument that are kind of flawed. And I think a lot of people don't really understand what this kind of means. As much as I hate to say it, Genshin Impact does have some good sides to it, even though some people don't really want to admit that. So we're going to be going through these posts to find out whether Wuthering Waves is better than Genshin Impact or not, and just kind of going over some...
End of the day, again, it's a totally subjective thing. There is no objective fact that Wuthering Waves is better than Genshin or vice versa. Now, you can look at specific things in regards to mechanics, and you can argue then, but even then, you know, like, we'll take the stamina situation, the stamina bar. I think for 90% of people will say, objectively, it's a better mechanic. But you will still have some people who be like, no, and you can't argue against that opinion, really. They're just wrong, but they're not at the same time, you know? And it's all about preference. It's all, you know, you might find that stamina bar just doesn't affect you. Maybe you've bought certain characters, you're in certain areas that can negate those sort of things in Genshin, and that doesn't become so much of a factor for you. Maybe you're so in love with the world that just doesn't really affect how the game plays to you. So all of these little things, even when we can break them down and say, well, actually, this is definitely better, might not be for somebody. I think the combat is better. I just think it's a better combat in pretty much every way. Some people don't think that, though.
Some commonly brought up arguments. But before I get into this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy it, and also go to my Twitch where I'm going to be streaming live. It'll be down in the pinned comment down below, or also in the description. I definitely recommend giving me a follow because it gives you a notification as soon as I go live, so again, you won't be able to miss it. And yeah, we just do a ton of Wuthering Waves stuff, and also some reacts to some Wuthering Waves content, as well as some other gachas and other gacha content as well. So I definitely recommend, you know, coming over and giving me a follow. But let's get back into the video. So the first post that I actually saw was from this user called Legend007. Now this is a person that's been on the Twitter community, and I don't want to make this video like entirely.
And as well, I just want to preface this because I saw that image there. It was kind of showing Shorekeeper compared to, I forgot her name now, from Genshin, the skate girl. I think it's a little bit like, I've done this myself. We laughed at some character comparisons between Genshin and Wuthering Waves, especially the Luke v Mortifi. That was kind of hilarious to me. And I think it's fair to make the comparisons, but at the same time, if you're going to make these comparisons, I said it in that video as well, you have to add the context. One game's on Unity and came out 4 years ago. Another game's on Unreal and came out this year. Now, I know some developers can do some amazing things with Unity. They can. But, you know, Unreal just, for most developers, it seems like I'm not a developer. They seem to be able to get a lot more out of it, don't they? But, you know, that's a thing that I think needs to be recognised. And I think it's, you know, and there's an art style difference as well. A game that comes out 4 years after another game, for the most part, is probably going to look better, isn't he?
About them or anything, I'm not trying to call them out. I'm not trying to support them or anything like that. But I just thought it was a very interesting argument that they brought up, and it just kind of caught my eye. Now, I'm going to actually start with this post here, saying why Wuthering Waves combat feels so satisfying. And they pretty much just put up a post of a combat sequence. I mean, it's nothing special in particular. It's just Wuthering Waves' you know, usual combat. I mean, it is great, and I do agree that Wuthering Waves combat does feel extremely satisfying, and I think that's one of the good parts that Wuthering Waves does. I think that Wuthering Waves, you know, they've really cooked on the whole parry system and stuff to do with that, as well as the...
I think in general, after playing Punishing Grey Raven, Kuro no combat. You know what I mean? Just straight up Kuro no combat. I was thinking about this yesterday. I would think any investor would be smart to potentially... Then again, there's this part of me doesn't want them to do that because it could potentially take away from Wuthering Waves. But maybe a few years down the line, this could be something that works out for everybody. That with China trying to get into the Western audience, that I feel like Kuro were the perfect set of developers there to like groom into making a big AAA game, you know, outside of the gacha space, because there's so much talent at the people who work there. They could really cook if given the freedom to make something like that outside of the gacha space. I do think that.
Intro skills, they've just kind of made it more interesting than a lot of the other open world gacha games that we've seen. Now this person below who has the name Kakashi, which, you know, obviously after the anime character, and they say, cause that's the only thing that Wuthering Waves is good at. Everything else is trash. Character design, except Yilin, story, and laughs revenue. So again, this is absolutely crazy, and this person saying that everything else in Wuthering Waves is trash, which I don't believe is true at all, and saying that character design is trash apart from Yinlin is absolutely...
Yeah, I've had a few comments like this on my videos. People have been like, apart from like graphics and some parts of combat, everything else in Wuthering Waves is just worse, and I'm just like, okay, all right, I guess that's your opinion. Disagree with that. Again, for me, like, I feel like Wuthering Waves just improves on a lot of things that Genshin did. But we've got to remember that Genshin did them first and allowed Wuthering Waves to then come along and be like, okay, we see ya, we'll raise you one, you know?
Insane. I definitely think, you know, character design and designing a lot of interesting characters is one of Wuthering Waves' strong points, and to say that they're not good at that at all is absolutely crazy. And I think a lot of people have a kind of misunderstanding of what the word good means, because obviously, you know, you have people that say something's peak, which obviously means it's going to be the best of the best. But saying something's good isn't exactly the most praising statement or anything like that. So to say something that's not even good pretty much just says that it's bad. And saying that the character design is bad is completely disingenuous. And the story, I can definitely see why a lot of people don't like that. Obviously, a lot of people, they got into the game very early and maybe they quit it after like 1.1 or something and just didn't really enjoy the story at the start because, yeah, it wasn't the best. I'll be honest. There is some stuff to do with Wuthering Waves that isn't very polished or that isn't as good as maybe some other gacha games, which, you know, I think we all can admit. And I think that, you know, if you don't like a game because of that, that's totally fine. But the final point also got me as well, the revenue. Now, I don't know why this point is being brought up in the first place.
I have genuinely had people in my comment section argue that revenue equals quality. Revenue equals success. And then you could make a secondary argument that revenue can potentially equal quality in some regards because enough people have found a thing enjoyable to spend money on it, but not necessarily, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. It could be more that, you know, it's enjoyable enough and people fell into predatory traps as well. That's a thing. You know, we've seen plenty of games top the gacha charts that nobody would argue they've got more quality than certain other games on the list. You know, revenue equals success from a business standpoint. That's it. It doesn't mean a game's better, has better quality, has better gameplay, has better story. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means more people are willing to pay on the game. Now, like I say, could mean in some ways that potentially that means there is some quality there, but it definitely doesn't equate to that. But you will have people who will genuinely use that argument. Well, actually, it's made more money, so it just means it's got to be better. It's just like, dude, you're tripping.
The revenue has nothing to do with how good a game is. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I really don't think I could add anything else onto that. The revenue doesn't equate to how good a game is, or how good the combat is, or how good the story is, or how good the characters are. It could come down to a lot of those factors, of course. You know, maybe some people just don't like the story or whatever, so they don't play the game. But to use revenue as one of the factors in why Wuthering Waves isn't good is just totally, you know, wrong. It's still doing pretty decently.
As well, like, for me, I suppose we can't not use the example because it's the only example we've got, the sensor tower data. But as far as I'm aware, sensor tower data only does iOS, doesn't it? I don't think it even does Android. I could be incorrect in that, but at least if it doesn't do Android, I don't think we get the full picture on mobile. That's not taking into account PC, for one, which, again, I don't have any evidence to back this up other than anecdotal and just the way the game is. I think that I wouldn't even be surprised if 80% of revenue for this game is on PC. And when it comes to console, it's going to shift even more in regards to not being on mobile. So obviously you've got to look at it and it's relevant to some degree. It kind of like exemplifies, it's an example of where the barometer is in some aspect, but I think it's off by a mile because I just think more people are spending on PC with this game. I've said it a million times. This game is not a mobile game. It just happens to have a mobile client. You know what I mean? Whereas some other games are like 99% of the revenues are on mobile. So if they're coming down, then there's a question you can be like, okay, something's off a little bit here. But for me, for Wuthering Waves, really doesn't make me think anything other than that, okay, it's not doing as good on mobile as other games, and that's it, because I think I'd love to see the revenue on PC, not for any argument to say, well, I was right about that, just out of curiosity to see what percentage goes to PC compared to mobile.
In terms of revenue, and they can still make a very, very good game. So again, I don't think revenue is a factor at all. And then this person replies saying you've become blind because you've become slaves to another company, probably Hoyoverse. Wuwa has the best models and some of the best character designs. You're too stupid to see it. You hate this game for no reason. Now, I don't know why they brought up Hoyoverse there. Now, I think it is kind of wrong to just assume that they've come from Hoyoverse. I mean, you know, there's no indicators on their account that they have been, unless, I don't know, maybe they posted something, but I don't really want to go to their account for that. But they say, bro, what do you mean by this? I've played Wuwa till 1.1 and Wuwa felt so boring I dropped it. So again, as I said, a lot of people did drop it after 1.1.
You know what though? Fair play to somebody. I'll give them that. If they played all the way to 1.1, if it was so boring, I wouldn't put my time into a game that was that. Because like, to clear 1.0, get to 1.1, and at least do a good chunk of the external content outside of the story, you've put a good few hours in, haven't you? I can't do that. If a game bores me, I'll usually drop it within 4 to 5 hours, and that's a stretch. Usually a game's done in an hour or two for me if it's boring. Because at the end of the day, that's the worst sin a game can commit, is being boring. I can deal with jank. I can deal with performance issues, although performance issues are a big thing. I can deal with bugs. I can deal with poor story. I can deal with pacing issues. Issues with gameplay here and there, although it's got to be a small part of that. It needs to be overall decent gameplay. But if a game's boring, I'm off that bitch straight away. I'm telling you. It's the worst thing. It's like watching a film. There's good films and there's bad films. I'd rather watch either of those than a boring film. You know what I mean? Because sometimes films can be that bad that they're almost good. I'd rather watch a bad film because at least you can laugh at it. There's nothing worse than watching a boring film.
Because they didn't enjoy the story, which I think is totally fine. And I think I can kind of get where this guy's coming from in terms of, it was boring and they've dropped it. There is a lot of people that did drop it. And there's some people that did give it a chance in the Black Shores. And
I think a lot of people dropped it potentially because of the initial part of the story. And I think we're going to make a video talking about this actually, because after watching some of the story stuff from the closed beta test, I really like the direction they were going with initially. And I think it was a way better initiation into the world and the characters. Just to see that standoff between Shia and Rover was insanely cool, rather than this doting character that's just like, whoa, you're amazing, you know what I mean? She actually pulls a gun to your head and is like, test me, motherfucker, who the fuck am ya? That to me is pretty cool, because Rover just appeared out of nowhere and then's doing this fucking gangster shit in front of people, sucking off echoes and stuff with her bare hands. It's like, of course you're going to be like, wait a minute, I don't trust this bitch, you know what I mean? But we got a different friendship kind of model, didn't we, after the closed beta test, which I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that intertwined into the game.
Now love the game. So again, they say Hoyo is just better. You just hate to admit it, and that's all. Stay happy with your keeper and go play 5.1 Archon to even grasp that the Wuwa story is nowhere near Genshin or HSR, which again is absolutely crazy because I've heard a lot of people say that the 5.1 Archon quest isn't even that good, especially the fact that they missed out a lot of the voice lines in the game, which obviously is due to the voice actor strikes, but they didn't make any other kind of arrangements. They just didn't have any voices, which is crazy to be comparing the Black Shores to, which was fully voiced and, had a very, very decent story in my opinion. And then this continues. Obviously they make a quote retweet about this saying, why would I waste my time on Genshin Impact when they're still recycling 4-year-old animations? Just look at the cinematic difference. Now,
hey, that's one thing I'll say, true. When it comes to the combat animations, I had another conversation with somebody on my channel before. They were trying to tell me that the animations in Genshin clear Wuthering Waves, and I was just like, you're crazy. You're crazy. Not only do they not, you look at the different types of characters throughout Genshin Impact that have the same exact animations. Wuthering Waves has insanely, well, they're just bespoke. They're all individual. I can't think, some actually, I watched a video going through where some look similar, but they're not. They're different animations. Genshin has, especially with Claymores, multiple different characters having the exact same animation, and then they're still not as good, So that's one argument you can miss me with all day long. Now, I'm not saying they're bad, but I just, miss me with that.
This is a big point that people bring up whenever comparing Wuthering Waves to Genshin Impact, is the kind of animations and character designs. Now, this video, as you can see, it's a very, very different style. The style of Genshin is very cartoony, whereas Wuthering Waves seem to have made a more kind of mature kind of animation style, which again, I think that a lot of different people will enjoy. And I think it's very important that a lot of people do remember that Genshin Impact is pretty much a kid's game. Like, you can't deny that, Genshin Impact.
I don't know, man. Like, the same way Wuthering Waves is a kid's game, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's got more of a Disney-fied bright look to it, where visually, if you probably showed them together, well, I don't think the average person would, but somebody who's a little bit more part of this culture, you'd probably look and go, okay, that does look a bit more, I guess, appealing to kids. But there's some anime out there that like has got a very pop arty style that if you looked at on the surface was like, okay, that looks really childish, I guess, and designed for kids, and then it's not. I don't know if I would say that that's the case. I think at the end of the day, they probably do want some of their audience to be kids, but when you're making a gacha game, your main audience really, in my opinion, is blokes in the 20s. You know what I mean? Because who's going to be opening the wallets? It ain't going to be 12-year-olds, You might be able to get your mom to let you spend some money here and there, but if you're going to get reoccurring revenue, it's going to be single 25-year-old dudes who work in an office who can play the game while they're at the desk, come home, play the game again, and spend a few £100 a month. That's the main target, you know what I mean? Your average 12-year-old ain't being like, yeah, I'm just going to rock up and spend £500 on Genshin today, you know, unless they're stealing the mum's credit card.
Main target audience is, you know, around children, and I think a cartoony kind of vibe to it is much better to, you know, kind of cater to that audience than something like Wuthering Waves, which I think Wuthering Waves caters to a more older audience, maybe, you know, teenage or above. So I think it's kind of unfair to kind of compare a lot of the art styles. Now, I do think a lot of Genshin Impact's older art style with stuff like D-Look and characters like that, I do think they do look terrible, I'll be honest, but they have really improved in the newer updates, you know.
Every time I see D-Look now, I just see that comparison, the side by side with Mortifeet, and it's just like, dude looks so bad. And I remember when I first played Genshin, I was like, I want to get him. He looks pretty badass. And now he just looks like a 12-year-old kid dressed up.
Natlan, Fontaine, etc. But I do think that's just their own style, and that's the audience they're catering to. I don't think we should be comparing both of the character designs, because I think they're meant for completely different audiences. Now, obviously, don't get me wrong, Wuthering Waves' character design and their models are...
They're not, though. They're not, though. The idea that Wuthering Waves is designed for a different audience is bullshit. It's designed for the exact same audience. It just is. You know, like, it's straight up is. You know what I mean? PGR's audience was designed for the same audience as Honkai Impact 3rd. You know what I mean? The myriad of turn-based of gacha games that you'll see coming soon that have dropped that have tried to tack on to some of what Star Rail have done are aimed at the same audience. You know, it's like if you're making a milsim shooter game, whether the graphics are a bit more realistic than your counterpart, you're aiming them at the same audience. I don't break gamers down to that much in that regard to mean that all of a sudden visuals change how they see a game so much. Now, don't get me wrong. I think in the AAA space, there is a bit more of that, where a game has to have a certain level of graphical fidelity. But art styles, I don't think dictate where a player's going to be like, right, that game's not for me. Just not for me. Now, there might be art styles you prefer. It's all about the gameplay, man. And... you know, the gameplay is designed to try and cater towards a Genshin Impact audience. Just is, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's going to curate a different audience, okay, and a subsection, but you know what I mean? It just is, man. You know, it just is. Like Azure Premilia, who's that? What audience is that going after? You know? It's going after Genshin and Wuthering's audience. Is it Nevernis to Evernis? Whose audience is that going after? It's going after Genshin and Wuthering's. You know? Project Mugen, same thing again. Arknight Enfields, same thing again. You know, they're all going after the same audience.
Amazing. I definitely think that, you know, they are really cooking with them. But again, I do think it is unfair to compare the two in terms of how good it is, because I think they are both pretty decent for the purpose that they, you know, serve. And then they compare even more stuff, saying Wuthering Waves doesn't force you to pull characters to explore, unlike Hoyoverse, which is very true. You know, Wuthering Waves actually release a lot of updates to do with Traversal, which pretty much cover all of the characters. You don't have to pull a character to do it. Now, there is some Traversal things with some of the characters, like the Butterfly mode with Shorekeeper, but apart from that, you know, you don't really have to pull it. They have some really good, you know, choices for you to, you know, just traverse the world without even having to pull a particular character. Whereas Genshin Impact at the moment have a lot of stuff with stuff like Natlan and places like that, where you've actually got to pull the character. You know, there's Zealanen, there's Kinich,
that's
people
a name,
like that.
Zealanen. I always forget what her name is. This is just digital Spider Boy, isn't it, this?
Who have all of these abilities which help you traverse the world, which is great, but you have to pull for them, which means, you know, you have to spend money on them if you haven't saved up for them. And they say as well, just look at this 1.3 main Steam quest, look at how much they've improved, but for you, everything is trash except for Hoyoverse games. You've got some serious blind spots. So again, I definitely think this is a very unique part of Wuthering Waves. And I think that if Genshin Impact did something like this, I think, you know, that would actually do very well for them too. But yeah, it's very interesting to see Kuro Games like kind of experimenting with this different kind of game style. So I definitely think that's very interesting too. And obviously there's this one video of people comparing Genshin characters to Wuthering Waves characters again.
Hey, look, hold my hands up. I was involved.
As I said, they're meant for two different purposes. Now, they say Wuthering Waves has character designs and models with eye movement that put Genshin Impact to shame, even at this early 1.3 stage. Genshin's characters look stiff and lifeless, well, Wuthering Waves is just getting started, just wait until the future. Now, I do definitely agree that there is a lot more kind of, I don't know, there's a lot more kind of...
To me, though, this is just a light-hearted thing. Like I say, I made that video in a genuine light-hearted comparison, you know? It was just straight up, I made the context, I specifically made the point that let's look at this in the context of this game is 4 years older. It's made on Unity. This game's just came out, right? I think we've got to look at it in that regard. That if we're going to get down to brass tacks, it's a little bit unfair. But let's do it anyway, because it's funny, you know? I think people get a little bit too bent out of shape about it all, like, you know, and making out well, that's it then, Wuthering Waves is definitely a better game because of this. At the end of the day, it's an art style thing for the most part, and a newer game. That's it, man. It doesn't go beyond that, really, for me.
Animations and stuff like
still funny to compare, though.
In the animations,
because Diluc looks so bad.
Wuthering Waves look better, but as I said, I don't think it's bad for Genshin Impact. Obviously, Genshin Impact is old, and I know that they could be updating it, but the thing is, I think it kind of adds to that cartoony style that they've, you know, kind of stuck with now. I think it is kind of unfair to be comparing the two, but I do think, in my personal opinion, Wuthering Waves characters do look better, but that's because it's more meant for my audience than, you know, than for Genshin Impact's audience. But I still play both of the games, and I still think they're both pretty good. And
exactly my point then. They use the same audience, to be fair. Dude, they do. You're a perfect example. You play both, and a lot of people do. You know what I mean? And a lot of people who play Wuthering Waves used to play Genshin. I'd argue the vast majority of Wuthering Waves players used to play Genshin. Now, of course, there's some people who've never played Genshin, and this is their first gacha game, or this is the only gacha game that they're interested in, or they came from a totally different gacha game in general. I think it's fair to say, though, that majority of the audience came from Genshin, didn't you?
Yeah, I think overall, this is a pretty stupid argument to be having.
I'd say it's safe to say now, people who are playing any particular gacha game, there's a good chance that Genshin was their introduction. Now, obviously, there's gacha games that were before that, but Genshin took it to another level, didn't he? You know, it brought it to the gacha space to the forefront to a lot more people who wouldn't have been interested in it, and then they're disseminated through the rest of the space, and we're like, there's a bunch of cool games here that I might actually like. That's what it did for me. Genshin, I used to laugh at Genshin and being like, never play that shit in my life, man, that gambling crap, ain't touching that. As somebody who likes JRPGs and action JRPGs and turn-based JRPGs, when I first played it, I was like, okay, all right, I made a mistake, this game's kind of cool. Then I played Star Rail, and then I played Wuthering Waves, and I was like, okay, all right, you know, and then I played Snowbreak and Aether and Zenly Zone Zero and Cat Fantasy, I know, and Brown Dust 2 and Reverse 1999 and Terror Fantasy, and I wouldn't have played all of those games if it wasn't for Genshin. It was like my gateway drug.
Overall, I think that both games are good in their own respects. Now, obviously, Genshin Impact does have its issues whenever it comes to rewards and everything like that, and, you know, giving players free stuff. But in terms of the actual gameplay and stuff like that, and the overall character designs, I do think that Genshin Impact isn't the worst of the worst. There's definitely worse games out there. But also, I don't think it's fair to be, you know, kind of slating Wuthering Waves for being a bad game like this other person is. Because, you know, it's clearly a good game that is, you know, I think at least comparable with Genshin Impact or even more. I definitely think, in my opinion, it is a little bit more because, again, it's more catered towards me. But I think a lot of this fighting to do with, like, which one's better does get kind of stupid at times because you just kind of end up...
You gotta be in a special place to enjoy Cat Fantasy.
arguing about kind of non-points. But yeah, that was a quick like little conversation thing that I wanted to talk about. I just found it really interesting because obviously this isn't the only person kind of talking about this. A lot of people think that Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact are better than the other whatever.
Just let you know, dude, your links ain't coming through. They get nuked by the bot straight away. What am I looking for? Aether Geyser lore video. Alright.
It's kind of a long debate that's been going on for ages, and it seems to be a thing that happens with Genshin Impact all the time because, again, they compare it to every single gacha game that comes out ever. Yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you think that Wuthering Waves is better than Genshin Impact, or Genshin Impact is better than Wuthering Waves? Or do you think that they've both got their own kind of strong points, and they've both got their kind of weak points as well? Yeah,
of course. Talk about fence sitting. Of course they have. You know, at the end of the day, it's preference, it's subjective. Do you like a roast chicken dinner, or is a steak dinner better? You know? What's better? You know, you could argue specific things on the dish. Well, this is just better. You know, this goes with this better. This just works better. End of the day, do you like steak more? Do you like chicken more? Sometimes you might want to eat steak. Other days you might want to eat chicken. Just do what just go with it.
that's all I got for this video.
Yeah, all right. Check out Kazahana. Yeah, it's because you get the bots coming in, don't you? Going, buy views with this and that, and it's just the only way to stop them. It's annoying. Steak, prove me wrong. I tend to agree. I tend to agree. All right, let's check out this post here then, shall we, guys? Let me just zoom in a little bit so you guys, can you guys see that a little bit better there? It's a bit better, harder for you to see if it's small, isn't it? Okay, all right. The reason I wanted to have a little look at this is because I have dabbled in talking about leaks on the channel. I'll admit, I've shown stuff in regards to kits, character animations. That's it. I don't do story leaks. I've never done story leaks. And I don't do leaks. I just usually typically react to what other people are speaking about. And I will say that I will continue to talk about stuff that's out there in the public, especially if I'm asked, because I think that's fine to do. I'll never talk about story stuff because I'm not interested in that, because I want to experience that for myself. But potential characters and, those sort of things, gameplay mechanics, new events, potential PvP. I'm always interested to talk about that stuff. But I won't do any more videos where I actually show anything that's been put on Twitter or that's been in other people's videos that's showing leaks. Even when I react to leak videos now, I'm going to scan the video. If they're showing stuff off that I think Kuro won't want to be showed, we're not going to do it, okay? I just want to get that out there. I respect Kuro, and they are obviously getting annoyed at the leaking stuff, and that it's their IP, and end of the day, I'm the type of person, I'll respect a developer and the views. This is coming from the Wuthering Waves developer, and this came out today. It wasn't too long ago, actually. How long ago was it? Just over an hour and a half ago. Okay, so let's check it out then. Dear Rovers, since the start of version 1.1 CBT, our work has been overshadowed by unauthorized content leaks. These leaks have spread fast and wide, including story cutscenes. This is always going to happen, but I think people sharing out story spoilers and story leaks, I get it, it's for clout and all that sort of stuff, but not a fan of that at all. Hey, I'm the type of person, I'll probably look at character leaks, see what's upcoming, see where I'm going to be spending my money, hold my hands up, but I don't want to hear shit about story. And people who do that, I think they should definitely go after him, because I think that's the biggest impact for the game, negatively in my opinion. Storyboard drafts, character concept art, and even discarded environment assets. I don't see how that's a big issue, though, if they're discarded. What's the deal with that? Maybe it's because I might use them again, or it might affect future story stuff. Okay, all right, I'll give you that. Many of you have expressed frustration at encountering leaked content despite your efforts to avoid it. I think that's mainly for Twitter, because it's hard to avoid. YouTube, you can ignore videos, can't you? Discords, it's private. But Twitter, you're just scrolling through and the stuff's just right there in your face, isn't it? So I can understand that. Largely due to platform algorithms, these unverified leaks have dulled the impact of our official version updates and caused major spoilers, undermining the experience we've carefully crafted for you. Last month, we issued a statement condemning leaks and received widespread support from our community. Thanks to this, many leakers realised the harm they were causing and ceased their activities. That's good to see. Unfortunately, with the launch of the version 1.4 CBT server, we are once again facing severe leaks of unreleased content. It's always going to happen. It's a problem with closed betas. It's just going to happen. You're never going to be able to get away from it. It doesn't matter how big the NDAs are, how big the threats are. Somebody will do it. I just guess it is what it is with gaming, really. Developing a new version is meticulous and time-consuming. Character creation, for example, begins several versions ahead with user research, followed by months of design, development, testing, and fine-tuning. Before each update, we conduct a closed beta test to ensure the final product meets the player expectations. Promotion only begins when everything is ready. With methodically scheduled moments to provide the best experience, we believe this approach ensures consistent, polished results, allowing players and content creators to fully engage with each update. Unfortunately, leaks disrupt this process, taking away the element of surprise and undermining the hard work of our team members who put their hearts into every detail. I can understand that. I do think, though, that Kuro are not the best in terms of character marketing specifically. That's the big thing that people care about. Everything else, people don't really care about that sort of stuff. But I think that they could do it a little bit better, if I'm honest. How that is, I haven't really got the answer. But I can understand the frustration. This is why I said myself, I'm not going to be talking about that sort of stuff. I won't be showing any videos. And again, if I am reacting to somebody talking about leaks, I'm going to make sure there's nothing shown in the video. Because at the end of the day, we're allowed to talk about stuff that we've heard. That's just how it is. I can't stop people talking about this stuff, but showing it, different situation, different example. In response to the damage caused by these leaks, we have implemented stronger measures to prevent future incidents. These measures include reinforcing confidentiality in our test servers, issuing formal warnings, and collaborating with various content sharing platforms to remove unauthorized material. Additionally, we have initiated legal proceedings against severe breaches of intellectual property. That's insane, and it's good to see. I don't think it's going to stop it. Huyo haven't been able to stop it, and I don't think if Huyo can, Kuro can't. But, you know, they're going after the people who are really showing off, I would imagine, gameplay super early, and I would imagine probably story stuff as well. They really probably don't want that getting out there, do they? Which are currently progressing through the courts. We're committed to defending our work against unauthorized distribution and are prepared to take further legal actions as needed. Now with version 1.4, this is interesting. On track and with 1.4 on track and preparations for official marketing well underway, the team is focused on developing our next major update. Little teaser here, guys. A brand new area that we've been designing based on all the feedback from you since launch. Interesting. Is this the new nation, or are we getting another sub area to the initial map release? But I'd like to know that. This new area is a true co-creation between us and the player community. In a way, it belongs to all of us. We call on all players to cherish this creative journey together. Please help us protect our hard work by standing against leaks. We will continue gathering evidence against those who steal and distribute unreleased materials. If you encounter any leaks, we encourage you to report them to us via a dedicated email, legal@kurogames.com. Once again, we extend our deepest thanks to all of you for your love and support. Wuthering Waves Dev Team, October 21st, 2024. So, again, as I said, I have done leak videos. All of my leak videos have really just been reacting to other people talking about stuff, and I've never showed anything off. I did do one video where I did show Camillea's animations. Now, I don't think they see that as like one of these major breaches that they're talking about. They probably don't want it to happen, and I get that, and I'm not going to do any of those videos again because, hey, listen, I'm a human, I'll admit. I ain't going to be one of those videos. I didn't do that, and then just try and scrub the videos. I've made those videos, and I'm not going to make them anymore because they said they don't want them. I'll happily miss the views, you know. The views are there, but I'll miss them. I'll talk about stuff that's out there. I'm happy to talk about stuff, discuss stuff, but I won't show stuff because they don't want that. And they can't stop us talking about stuff. And I think it's fair to talk about potential events upcoming and potential characters and potential whatever. Or I'll always stay away from story stuff anyway, because that's just not my vibe. I don't like to talk about story stuff. And I think it just ruins games when you get spoilers for stories. But one thing that's really interesting though, brand new area. Designed based on all the feedback from since... So... I wonder what that is then. Is that the new nation again? Or is this just another sub-nation? We're really interested to see what the deal is with that. So, yeah, I just thought I'd talk about that because, it's been a big thing recently. A lot of people have been talking about it. I know some content creators haven't been happy that they're going after the leakers, which in my opinion, you can't be mad about it, even if you built your whole channel around that, because at the end of the day, it's their IP. They want to protect it. I totally respect that, and I support them in it. As somebody who has made the odd video here and there talking about leaks, doesn't bother me. My channel isn't built around that. My channel's built around live streams and gaming and a lot of reactions to content at the end of the day, and I'll continue doing what I'm doing. But I won't be showing any leaked gameplay. We'll talk about it. We won't show, okay? So I just wanted to let people know about that, and, just basically be upfront about things, because I think we should do, shouldn't we? And it's probably not a good idea if you are leaking. I'd probably stop, especially if you're leaking because there's a potential of a criminal, legal repercussions. Now, I don't know if that's affecting people globally or it's more of a China-based thing. It's probably more of a China-based thing because that's where the betas happen. So those are the people that are signing the NDAs, and it's clear-cut ability for them to go after those people because they're breaking contracts. So legally, they've got the right to do that. Other leaks and distribution, they'll probably struggle in the distribution and the sharing, really. That's where the grey area is going to be. But the best thing to do is probably just not, if you're going to share information about what you've heard, talk about it. Don't show it, and just don't share story stuff as well. Just stay away from that because I just, it sucks to spoil story stuff, in my opinion. But anyway, that's from the Wuthering Waves developer update on, them going after leakers. So don't be a bad boy. Don't be a bad boy. So yeah, what do you guys think about the leak stuff and that? When it comes to kits, I don't have an issue, if I'm honest. I think it builds a bit of hype for the game. Now, and even like images of the characters. Now, gameplay, I can understand them maybe not wanting to see that. But for me, when I see a character's design and I see potential ideas for the kit, even if it's not the correct stuff what we're going to see, that gets me hyped. Main reason why I made sure I had money and I spent money on Shorekeeper was a kit. Because when I initially saw a design, wasn't that interested. But a kit sold me. So that regard, it's hard to say from a business standpoint, does it negatively affect Kuro? I think there's the argument to say people might skip banners because they're waiting for potential banners in future. So there's that argument there, and I think that's fair to say. But I think when people start sharing story, content, showing off images of new areas, that must suck for working on something for so long, being excited to share it, and then leakers have already beat you to it, It can't be a good feeling. I saw a reply to a comment in Foxy section blaming Kuro for using free labour and not real testers. The dude was a complete idiot. So, yeah, well, they should be paying beta testers then. Okay, that's wild. Free labour, but imagine calling testers free labour. If you're signing up to join up to a closed beta, if you work for a company and you're a gameplay, that's somebody who enters a closed beta test. It's not and gives feedback. It's totally not the same as a game tester. I think people don't realise how boring and monotonous being a game tester can be. One that's actually that's the job. But yeah, end of the day, if you're signing an NDA to join a closed beta, stick to it. Stick to it. You don't have a right to be like, well, I ain't getting paid for this, so I'm going to share it. It's like, well, that's not how agreements work. You don't make an agreement with somebody up front knowing the parameters of the agreement and then decide afterwards, actually, I didn't get what I wanted out of that, even though I agreed to what I was getting. I'm going to go and leak this now and spread it out. That's not how things should work. You've signed an NDA, stick to the NDA. At the end of the day, if those people stuck to what they said they were going to do, there'd be no leaks, And like I said, I'll hold my hands up. I've made a couple of videos talking about leaks, most of them, well, all of them apart from one actually, have been reactions to people's content. So obviously, maybe I'm seeing it from my own point of view there, but I kind of don't see it as the same. You know what I mean? I'm just looking at what other people are talking about. Where are we? This was the only one that I've actually ever made where it wasn't reacting to somebody else. Where I wanted to talk to people about the new event and show off the Lumi and Camellia gameplay. Now, after what Kurov said, won't ever do that again. If they ever request me to take that video down, I'll happily take that video down. The rest of my videos are just reactions, you know what I mean? And most of them don't have anything to do with leaks, apart from like these sort of things. But like I say, I'm usually reacting to somebody else's video where they're just talking about stuff. Nothing's being shown. So I don't see these as... Now, I don't know if Kuro don't like this stuff, but I don't see these as in the same vein as like leaks, if you will. Now, maybe I'm just being biased there. Of course, I'm going to be biased. It's my own content, isn't it? And end of the day. But yeah, most of my content is reactions. Like I say, that's the only one that I've ever really done that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think, it would be better if we didn't have leaks. I think certain leaks, now, whether or not Kuro allows certain things to happen, like I say, in terms of characters, like rumours about kits, rumours about character designs, I think those are good, actually. They build hype, don't they? They do build hype, leaks before a game launches, not leaks of like alpha gameplay, because that ruins how a game looks, the initial first impressions, that's never good. But, leaks about what a game's going to be and what a potential story could be and what this game's at, what mechanics are, like, definitely do build hype for a game, don't they? But you know, when these leaks are getting out super early and it's just showing off story and pretty much everything about a patch, that's not great. It's definitely not great, and it doesn't do anybody any benefit apart from potentially content creators reacting to it and making money from it as well. You know what I mean? They need to put out false info to expose leakers as frauds and put their legitimate. Yeah, it'd be hard to do, wouldn't it? But I think the only thing that could do specifically, maybe, it depends on how many people are involved in these tests, but I suppose this would just be too much work in potentially having certain things in builds that are sent out or in patches that are sent out to particular people that are different in just as a test here and there, maybe, or just even potentially like being like, right, we think it might be this group of people here. What we're going to do, we're not going to announce that they've been pulled from the beta test. We're just going to say there's been some issues. We'll let you know when we've got the beta out to you. Don't worry. It's just a bit of a technical itch. And then just leave it at that. And then when they can be like, okay, we've seen a drop down in the leaks here, or we've seen no leaks this one, and we know that it's one of these few people here, and then they can kind of make a collateral damage thing and be like, right, let's just ban all of them. Maybe we catch a couple who are innocent, but it's better to do that rather than, you know, risk more leaks. I think that'd be a way to go about it. You know what I mean? Because it's probably a very small minority of people in the beta tests who are doing that. So it's weeding them out, isn't it? But I should imagine it'd probably be quite hard to do. But there's got to be ways to do it. Definitely got to be ways to do it. Yeah, I hope Kuro get it sorted. You know? And again, I hope they can deal with it from the source, because as I guess bias again, I'm a content creator. I don't necessarily want to see them going after content creators. Because end of the day, content creators are going to react to stuff that's out in the wild, aren't they? At the end of the day, YouTube is like news nowadays, isn't it? If stuff gets out about a company that they don't want to get out, the news is going to be on it. And I kind of see it in a similar sort of way that content creation works. Now, obviously, I'm being biased in that regard because I'm a content creator, and I'd probably see it different if I didn't make content. So, you know, I'll be, you know, it might be a bad take, and I'll accept that. But that's why I've said I'll talk about stuff now, but I'll never show stuff that I am 100% sure that I know Kuro won't want to be shown, because I think that's only fair. You know, I respect the developers, so you know I should act upon it. You know what I mean, rather than just saying it and then continue. Because you know, there's some channels that I've been reacting to. They're just pumping out this stuff constantly still. You know, I guess it might work out for them in the end. But easy to issue NDAs to everyone, so they have the ability to sue, then put out bad info, so grab onto it, then wait for the leakers to drop it, and the patch comes out. Yeah, I guess dropping information before the patch, you know, sending them out little tidbits of information of, oh, just to let you know, this is going to change in the patch this month. We're implementing this new event that's going to make a drastic change to the way the game works. So we just wanted to give you a heads up before the patch drops, and then maybe hope to catch on to something like that. I suppose once the patch goes out, it's hard then, isn't it? Depending on how many people have got access to the patch, which is the guy. And put it, when the patch comes out, the leaks are proven wrong, and their legitimacy is questioned by everyone. Once that happens, it ain't worth squeeze, and they'll stop. Yeah. I think definitely making them look wrong on, in major ways would be a good way to get people to stop listening, wouldn't they? But there would always be those people that would still listen, I guess, suppose. All right, then. We're going to watch this last video, and then we're going to get into some gameplay, okay? Because it's nearly 3 o'clock, and we haven't played any games because I'm running late today. Because I'll be honest, I had to re-edit the video I put up today. You'll notice throughout the video that my camera fades out of screen, off screen now and again. I got back from the gym. I had dry mouth, and I had a little friend pop up. You know when you get that like little bit of white spit or whatever it is? Sometimes you've got dry mouth, if you've ever had it and you're talking for a long period of time. You might never have noticed yourself have had it when it obviously been on camera. You see it. You've probably seen it with people when they've been talking before, whether it's in the corner of the mouth or. But for me, it was like here, and I just noticed. I uploaded the video before I published. I was like, right, let me just scan through the video to make sure I ain't fucked up any edits or you know the video into mess. Audio's okay. And as I was watching through it, I was like, what the fuck is that, bro? And it was there, and then it went away, and then it came back, and then it was just sitting on my lip for a while, and I was just like, oh my God, it's triggering me. I can't stop looking at it. People are going to be roasting me about it. I've got to fucking re-edit the video now. So that's why my face keeps disappearing, because at that particular moment, little friend was like, hello. I'm just going to pop up and say hello. You know? That's why. Yeah. I had to re-edit the video. That's why I was a little bit late today. I'm human. I'm human. I had a bit of dry mouth. right, you foaming. Those people leap for clout. When you take that away from them, they have nothing, and we'll move on. Yeah, from a content creator standpoint, get it. You know what I mean? Because there's money to be made. End of the day, if you're uploading YouTube videos, or you've got like potentially like a monetized Twitter account, I guess there's money to be made there. But it is just for clout otherwise, isn't it? What benefit do you get if you're in something like that and then you just dump it into a Discord? Like you say, other than clout, what does it get you? Don't get you shit, does it? You know what I mean? Maybe some internet gold coins. All right then, new video from Gamba AJ. Time to be concerned about Wuthering Waves' future. Let me guess, he's not concerned about Wuthering Waves' future, but he's talking about some other people who are maybe saying the game's dead, because that kind of seems to be the cycle at the moment in the gacha spaces. You think somebody's saying the game's dead, but they're not. They're talking about somebody else saying the game's dead. So let's have a look.
Yo, YouTube, what's going on? AJ here, back at it again with another video. And in today's video, we're going to have to be real with everybody now, and we're going to get a little bit serious now about some things. So we have a video by another creator, Maggie, who put out a video called The State of Wuthering Waves Honest Review. But one thing I want to talk about...
We're reacting to a reaction. We're doing a bit of reacception again, guys. We love to see it. I love to do it. Let's do it.
If you clicked on this video, is that as much as we praise the game, we also do criticize Wuthering.
I am creatively devoid. I must say, I don't necessarily think Gamba really criticizes the game, in my honest opinion. I think even when he makes criticisms of the game, they're like kind of thinly veiled, like positive remarks about the game. And then when he does like kind of throw these criticisms out there, I don't feel like they're real criticisms. And I think we should be highly critical of Wuthering Waves, because we've got an open dev team that listens. And if you like the game, even more so. And as many people as possible should be critical. So a vocal minority don't control the narrative.
Ways at time. And we don't unfairly criticize it, guys. We like to give fair critiques. That way the game can improve. The devs can listen. Because one of the things the devs do, and if you guys have heard me before, is I've talked about how they take what Global says as well as CN. They listen.
This is true. It seems like that's the case. And this is why I said I don't want to see the revenue in China running away in comparison to the rest of the world. That's one thing that Hoyo has a massive problem with, because it's skewed so heavily to China in terms of revenue. They always listen to China. Again, going back to the closed beta test and how cool the story seemed at the start of the game, we didn't get that because closed beta players didn't like that it was dark. And we lost what seemed like something really cool from the game. So let's not let the vocal minority do that again. This is why we need the majority of people being critical and maybe even being a little bit hypercritical sometimes. I know people might say that that's like somehow like, you know, we shouldn't have that attitude in the community. But again, for me, if you love something, criticize it. It's only going to get better.
It's not all the opinions, right? And then they do sort of cater towards everybody. They're not unfair towards one side. They appreciate both sides of their community, and they always address issues, quality of life, or anything like that. However, I'm curious to hear, because the thumbnail did say, why are people losing interest in Wuthering Waves? I'm curious to hear somebody else's take.
I'd like to know the metric that people are using as well to decide whether people are losing interest in Wuthering Waves. Is it the revenue charts? Is it some information they've got regarding player numbers? Is it anecdotal from polls that they're doing on their channels to see? I'd be interested to know, because I think most people are going off Sensor Tower revenue. That doesn't in no way paint anywhere near the whole picture for this game. So I don't think it's a good metric to use, if I'm honest, either.
I'm going to give you my honest thoughts. We'll see if I agree with Maggie. We'll see if I disagree with Maggie. But if you like the content on the channel, make sure you hit a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for the support. without further ado, let's get into
I'm going
the
to
video.
disagree with both of them, right?
Wuthering Waves has almost been out for
I've heard enough. I disagree with everything this person's about to say, I think. I think I've heard enough to know that I'm going to disagree with everything.
half
I'm
a
just
year
joking.
now.
It's crazy.
Marketed as an alternative to Genshin Impact, WoWa put itself in front of a lot of expectation as well as competition. How is the game doing now? At this point, I've had plenty of time to play through all the content the game has to offer. And
Okay.
I wanted to take a step back to talk about the state of the game. Let's get into it. First things first, we need to be real. Like other open world gacha games that have a great launch, things aren't as rainbow and butterflies meant.
Did Terra Fantasy have a great launch? I don't know. I'm genuine question. Did it have a great launch? I know power creep was a big issue, and the way the devs handled things, that's what I've heard. I've only been able to hear this stuff because I started the game recently, and I've played from the very start. I wanted to play the early content to get an experience of what it was like. Obviously, not what it was like on launch because it's not launch, but, you know, it was close to that. And I kind of enjoyed the game. It's not as polished as something like Genshin or Wuthering Waves, but it's kind of fun. So did it have a good launch? Because I've heard some people say that the launch was trash, but then I've heard some people say it wasn't necessarily the launch, it was post-launch where it went really downhill.
Many months down the road. So, why are people losing interest in Wuthering Waves?
Before she gets into it, I'll give you my thoughts. I think it's because they're doing the same thing as Genshin Impact.
Before he gets into his thoughts, I'm just going to say, how do we know that's the case? How do we know that's the case? I'm not saying it's not the case, but how do we measure this interest? How do we know it's dropped off? How do we see this? You know? And I'm not arguing against this. I'm just saying I don't understand the metric that people keep saying, well, they can quantifiably say, I know it's dropping off. And it's like, what are you using? Sensor tower? If you're using that? I don't think that's a fair assessment.
But a little bit different. And one thing I want to get into, people are watching this right now, and hearing that statement is, I want you to let me cook for a second. The thing with Wuthering Waves, that's the issue, right, guys, is the fact that they've done things that Genshin could really never do. And I know it's the whole joke, Genshin could never. But aside from that, take the joke aspect out of it, right? The combat's amazing, right? Which is, It's much better. Boss fights are really fun, interactive. The open world traversal is much easier, right? The issue is we are getting such short, like, cycles. And what I mean by that is, not short cycles, but it's very long cycles, you know what I mean? It's
long patches with short content cycles, I think what he's trying to get at. We get this bunch of content that's very compressed towards the start of the patch, and then we don't get much else other than a few dribs of kind of mid-events here and there, if I'm honest. This is what I'd like to see. Maybe potentially story beats, like a dual drop in the patch in terms of story beats. Now, this would require more work. I get it. I'm maybe asking too much. But I'd definitely like to see a more of a spread throughout the patch of the content. It feels top heavy. You know what I mean? And that's why we just get time gates on content, and that's the way that it artificially gets extended. Do you know what I mean?
still that same standard. Hey, we give you a patch. You guys can complete it in 1 or 2 days. They do give us a lot of events, which is kind of a little bit different, but the events are even quick, right? It's just free rewards, free materials, and it's on.
Events in this game are kind of mid. I'll say they're very mid. I think events need to get better, and Endgame needs to be improved. We need more of it. We need dailies, weeklies, resettable Endgame, and then like the patch Endgame. There needs to be more of that. Events need to be... I want more just like silly little arcade events as well. Like I was watching Styx's wife talk about that Nikki game, whatever it is, that new open world Disney dress up gacha game. Game's not for me. It's definitely a bit more for girls. But one thing, it seems to have a bunch of little cool mini games in the game, and I was like, why haven't we got those sort of things in Wuthering Waves? They're in Zenly's. You know, like, I want to see more of that where it just feels like, you know, it's just a little side thing that I can do for 10 minutes here and there. I can just keep playing if I want, you know, like I don't know, into whatever, like a side-scrolling little shooty thing, or like a snake type thing, or just little things like that that are just separate and small, and then events that are not about the rewards. It's about the event. The game event itself is actually interesting and enjoyable, and it's not like, right, just clear this in 30 minutes. Oh, well, 3 minutes, should I say, done, you know? But there's 9 levels, and I get to do the first 4 day one, and the rest are day after day. Then that to me is not great.
On to the next character. One of the things I've talked about in the future with gacha games is that I'm wondering, when are we getting that gacha game that's going to deliver big patches and be like, here's what I think. I'd almost want a gacha game where they drop like content that's like, dude, it takes you like a full week of playing nonstop, and then for the average person, it takes like 2 to 3 weeks, right? And then like not a month, but like 2 months.
This is, he's kind of talking about what I've been asking for here, but it's hard because there's going to be a balance in the fact that we're going to get less of it. So you're still going to be, it's catch-22. You're going to get bigger patch, less of it, less of those patches, or you can get smaller patch and more of them. You're still going to be in the situation that once it's done, you've got this big gap in between. This is where events come in, and events being tied to potential story and just being a bit more. This is where events can save the cycle, in my opinion, and Endgame saves the cycle, because we can't expect them to be pumping out story content that lasts the length of a patch every fucking patch. The dudes will be dying of exhaustion. You know what I mean? It's just not something that we can that can keep up. But it's about finding that middle ground. You know what I mean? And that's where replayability, dailies, and weeklies that reset come in my opinion.
Months later, come out with, you know what I mean, another patch or something like that. But give us like a huge chunk of content. That way we can like be like, oh damn, we played a lot. You know what I mean? I'm excited for coming back. Kind of like the MMO stuff like that. I think you'd have to work business ahead, though. You'd have to like have the game complete and then have like, I think 6 months to 8 months worth of content already planned out. You know what I mean? And I get that's hard on devs and stuff like that. And these are gacha games, but ultimately, guys, I don't
just think it's hard. I genuinely think it's impossible. Or if not impossible, highly improbable. And I think, if I'm honest, the only company who potentially could get as close to that, although I'm asking for something similar, I think the only company that could probably get as close to that, it's probably Hoyo. They've got the resources, and I don't even think they could do it, you know what I mean? Where it would be actually financially workable for them also.
That same gacha cycle for all these games is starting to catch up to everybody right now.
Endgame, events, this is where the game will be saved.
Let's talk about the content and gameplay cycle. Wuwa's general content offerings are familiar to the genre. You can explore and complete one-time puzzles for pinch amounts
posh
of resources, complete very quick daily tasks for
this is a proper
rewards,
content creator, not like me.
Spend your daily energy on bosses or instances, both of which have trivial difficulty, in order to obtain material.
I think it's impossible unless it's an MMO. Even Blizzard fails at this. Agree. I think that is, even though I'd like something like that myself, I think it's just asking far too much. This is where, like, I think the way you get around it is events and endgame, and having resets that like make sense. Because creating that much content, it's not going to happen, is it?
Materials
it's just not.
To strengthen your characters. All of this to become strong enough for what is the current endgame, the Tower of Adversity,
and it's mid,
or TOA for short. TOA resets on a bi-weekly schedule.
The Tower of Mid.
The largest amount of renewable premium currency earnable in-game outside of events and dailies.
Because, like, I'm adamant that most people really only play the Tower as well. 1, it's for the currency, and 2, to brag. It's not that they actually have a massive amount of fun. And maybe I'm wrong. I just don't find it that enjoyable. It's for the currency for me. I don't actually go out and brag about clearing anything. But I just haven't bothered with it recently because I'm like, the currency ain't even that. Like, I'll do a bit here and there for the currency now and again if I'm desperate. But I'm just like, I'd rather not. I just don't find it that enjoyable.
As it stands right now, the balancing of the floors requires roughly a level 80 main DPS for 3 different teams in order to earn the full rewards, meaning it is achievable within just over a month, which is the time it takes to get Union level 50. This is, of course, in terms of an FTP/low spender estimate. swiping for limited character sequences and or weapons can over triple the damage output of a DPS, effectively
that's
allowing
true.
the content to be cleared even sooner. After Union level 60, level 90 is unlocked, making the DPS checks on floors much more lax. How lax? Well, I've played into resistant floors, as well as used a level 1 weapon on sequenceless 5-star units, and have still been able to get the full cresps. So, for endgame
Alright, humble brag, humble brag.
players, the endgame is a bit undertuned to say the least.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna interject and call timeout here. There's a lot of people that I've seen on Twitter. Okay, if she's talking about it's undertuned to say the least, as in it's not that hard, I want to say, right, that there are a lot of people who have seen done polls on YouTube, on Twitter, and
When she says it's undertuned, is she saying that it's too easy though? I know she was kind of referencing to when she said she cleared it with like crappy weapons. But is that more to the fact that the bi-weekly resets themselves are not tuned in a way that gives a good experience that can be difficult, but at the same time, I don't know how I'm trying to describe this, but I don't know. I don't know if she's necessarily, maybe she's, I don't know. But I've definitely seen, and this is the case in all games. Some people will find some content easy, some people won't. Some people just know more about the game and understand the game a little bit better, and then just have a bit more skill as well. It's just how it always is. You know what I mean? Some people find clicking heads in immortal lobbies in Valorant a piece of piss. Throw a silver in there and see how well they do. Actually, they'll probably do well because they do, you know, they're playing a totally different way. That'll just catch out higher players, catch higher players out. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Why was he there?
and that's not. I'm not speaking for the entire Wuthering Waves community, right? I'm not even.
He's just saying
speaking
it's
for
not
my
hard enough,
community.
similar to like
See, when I
holograms.
do tier lists
Fair,
and stuff
fair.
like that, y'all be clearing, y'all be popping off. So I know my community. Hey, y'all good at the game. I know that, right? But y'all have to understand, these are casual games, right? There's a lot of people who can't even clear these towers. So to say it's undercooked. Now, I don't know if she's going to criticize Tower of Adversity for a different way, because I will say one of the most obnoxious
It's
things
trash.
in the tower right now, and I think needs to get removed for Endgame, they should make the bosses, like, if you guys remember,
I'll tell you what should they do with the tower. They should expand it. Keep what they've got now. Fine. That in itself is not a problem for me. I'd play it. I'd do it here and there. But I want a bit more because the tower's got this physical presence within the world, hasn't it? It's not just a thing they've dropped in on the map, a little marker, and like, go do that. It's this physical presence. People know what it is. So to me, it's like this academy, and it should have a little bit more to it that challenges players in different ways rather than it being a stat check and a team check in regards to like, right, you've got a set amount of time, clear this higher level enemy. It's just about burning down the HP within the set time, really. That's what it's about. I want to see stuff that's a little bit different. I want to see like roguelike stuff that's kind of like in the elusive realm, that's literally a tower system. You're going up and you can keep going, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Endless. I don't know. And things that are just a little bit different, that feels like you go into a place to train. You know, because that's kind of how the game sold the tower to you initially, didn't he? In the canon, is this is where you're going to go and become better. Make it feel like that. Make it feel like this is a place where I expand my skill set as a player, rather than just being like, right, here's this week's enemies, go beat them, and then when you're done kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'd like to see a little bit more out of that. And that's where the tower can become part of this thing where you have your daily stuff, your weekly stuff, and then the stuff that goes over a patch, and then you can just have the standard stuff in there as well. That's like that 2 weekly reset of the tower, and we have a bunch of stuff tacked on to the surrounds of the tower as well.
remember when they nerfed Scar? They should unnerf Scar, release those type of bosses still. Just remove the timer from Tower of Adversity. Just make it your 3-star, the qualification for 3-starring.
I think if you remove the timer though, the tower kind of loses all purpose then, doesn't he? You know, I think the purpose is really, now it's not my kind of fun, is clear this in a set amount of time. I like the holograms more. I know they're timed, but I like them more because you feel like you have to learn the patterns a little bit more in that. Where the tower is literally just about the time, isn't it? It's a DPS check at the end of the day. It's put out this much damage in this amount of time, or you don't get the full the full clear. And if you don't do it, you don't get the clear. So I think if you remove the timer, it kind of removes the whole point of the tower, doesn't it? I don't know. Am I on my own with that?
Is to make sure all 3 of your units or your characters are alive and you beat the boss. That's it. You just got to keep them all alive. You know what I mean? Because that brings heavy value to sustains. That brings heavy value to team comps and the amount of damage you're going to put out. And I think if they were to do that and give us like crazy level bosses so we already understand the fight pattern, you know what I mean? I think a lot more people would be enjoying it, spending their time there.
I'd be okay with that being added to the tower. Hey, I'll be okay with that anyway, because I don't enjoy the tower at all. So whatever changes happen to the tower, I don't think I'd necessarily be bothered. But I'll be okay with something like that, where it's actually like a proper hologram fight. Then we've got the holograms anyway, haven't we? It's just like having a hologram fight without a timer. I want something a little bit more than that, personally.
Because now they don't have to worry about a timer in their back of the head saying, oh,
I want something where you can actually, it feels like you can go in there and do challenges. And not just arbitrary challenges you set up for yourself, where the game's like, right, we want you to use this character now. You've got to use this character and do this. Even if it gives you a full level 90 character and you don't have that character. But today's challenge is you're using Gian and you have to go clear these rooms. That's cool to me. That'd be interesting. Right, today, you're going to use Gian and you have to use this sub DPS or this character and a healer, or this is the team today. This is the attributes. You've got to clear these rooms again. I feel like that'd be really cool. I do.
I got to clear it within 3 minutes. No, now they get to focus on the fight, and I swear it's more fun that way. But who knows? Maybe Krill will take that and, you know, listen to this advice and do something with it. Maybe not. I feel like that's something we got to get a lot of creators to start saying and talking about. You know what I mean? But let's hear her out.
In addition to this repeatable endgame content, there are also one-time challenges for players, the Overdrive Tower and Holograms. The Overdrive Tower is a set of additional TOA floors that, rather than capitalizing on Wua's satisfying boss battles, is loaded with trash mobs. It features buffs tailored to push the requirement of certain limited units, which, while the floors can be completed without, leads to a much more frustrating experience. When completed with the intended units, the DPS requirements on these floors has as much leeway as the normal tower, with players being able to clear it in less than half the allotted time, despite this being one-time challenge content. Next, holograms are one-time boss challenges that are incredibly punishing. The timer on these is nearly a non-factor, and the fights are more about survival than a DPS challenge.
Yeah. It literally is more about learning patterns, isn't it? And not getting that one hit kill clap. That's basically what it's all about. It's learning the patterns, understanding, right, the one hit kill's about to happen. I'm about to get my ass kicked. Get ready. You know what I mean? Because the time is less of a factor. Because if you're struggling for time, then it's just really that you're underpowered, isn't it? It is. It's more about survival. And that's why I like the holograms. Because it's more, it feels like a, you know, almost like a Souls-like kind of fight, doesn't it? Is understanding the enemy, understanding timing, understanding the patterns, because they change as well. And I think that's one of the most interesting things about the holograms. And you just lose that in the tower, don't you, really?
To put the DPS requirement in a nutshell, I went through all the highest difficulty holograms, clearing in around half the allotted time or less. With a single character and no food buffs. I had a lot of fun with this content, but the challenge...
Yeah, I'm getting flexed on by a lolly character here. I'm not happy about this.
I've put myself to...
But the question I want to ask is, Maggie, if you ever see this or someone sends you this, did you use echoes? Did you cheat and use echoes? See, me personally, I can... No, I'm just kidding. But guys, truly, I did complete all the holograms besides Inferno Rider, right? No, I did beat Inferno Rider, but my whole thing was to beat them all with Chang Li, practically just solo them with Chang Li, no food buffs.
Practically just solo with them with Chang Li. What do you mean practically? You either did or you didn't.
No echoes used. I did that for the main 6.
Well, basically, I had Shorekeeper, I buffed her, and then I never went back to Shorekeeper. Solo.
Sure, whatever it was, 5, right? Saying. Then Inferno Rider came out, and we all know I couldn't use Chang Li, so I had to use that Jinxie and Jaja and Shorekeeper. Y'all, if you haven't seen it, check it out, bro. You'll know what video it is. It's called I Hate Inferno Backshots, okay? Y'all know. It's a crazy thumbnail and title.
Is completely artificial. Players can take advantage of food buffs, revival items, energy stacking, and of course, actually using a whole team to overcome these challenges much easier. However, I definitely stand by this content being Wua's shining example of gameplay.
I agree.
Agree. Skill check beyond anything else. Really, yeah, it is.
As
Yeah,
it highlights
she's
what
spitting
Wu is
facts.
best at. Challenging boss fights requiring you to parry and perfectly dodge attacks, as opposed to bad auto-targeting and trash mob management. So let's do a quick recap. The repeatable endgame content has a low bar to be cleared, and the non-repeatable content, while some of it is good, doesn't have much higher requirements to be cleared.
Right.
This leads to an endgame of developing your characters and echoes to be the best, only to crush the content you're already crushing more. I understand that this might be a touch grass moment, as not all players spend as much time optimizing rotations. Casual, accessible content.
Not much player. Okay, let me explain to you something. Let me explain to you guys something. Yo, Maggie is a sweet, nice person. You can kind of tell, you know what I mean? But, yeah, that is a touch grass moment. Not much. I would say 95% of the community doesn't do this. They just build it, look up a guide, build the build, right? Get their character to max level, just play the way they want to play. They clear it, they have fun. You know what I mean? I would say
That's the best way to do it.
Are
That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. I'm no min max out at the end of the day. I want to play to have fun. Now and again, I'll tweak stuff because I'm like, all right, I need to get this little bit of extra juice out of it. But like, if I'm 15% less efficient, whatever.
optimizing rotations. 1%, maybe even less than that, which is the Maggies of the world.
Hey, I'm still using the morning eggs on Jinsey.
Are doing spreadsheets, guys. You know what I mean? And she's really good at the game from what I understand, too. You know what I mean? She knows
Yeah,
what
she's
talking
clearing
about.
all
So,
hologram solos and stuff.
Definitely,
You
yeah.
gotta be decent at the game.
It's definitely a touch of grass moment.
Is a good thing, right? Yes, and also, well, no. Remember that this game is targeting an audience that has mostly already indulged in Genshin, which hits
Exactly what I said earlier when Kazahana says it's a separate audience. It's like, what are you smoking? These games are trying to grab the same audience.
a similar endgame niche as Bua. Both of them being casual open world games means that there are a lot of people who ultimately lose interest in it when they realize it's just the same base formula for the game.
I agree.
Now, I'm obviously not one of these people, as I'm still covering the game and having fun with the combat, which I think is great. But do understand that this isn't enough to keep everyone interested, and I just want to be.
Hey, yo, again, man, dungeons, world bosses, raid bosses, potential matchmaking kind of raids. What was it? Not solo, freaking Sword Art Online. That does a really cool raid system where you start off in like groups of 4 and you complete a bit of content and you meet up with other groups of 4 until you get to the end boss and you have to fight the boss. That's sick. We're not going to have that. But you know what would be kind of cool? You have a standard dungeon system that you can do solo. Ones you can do with your friends and matchmake as well, where you just go through a standard dungeon, you clear it, right? End boss, kill some mobs, do some parkour, do some platforming, do some light puzzle work. Maybe on the second or third clear, there's a little door there that, I found a little chest here, and those sort of things, just to add a little bit of extra exploration to it on the further clears. But then have a dungeon system where there's a central boss and everybody's getting towards it. How cool would that kind of be? Where like they could even implement mechanics, like where this might not be for everybody, but they could implement mechanics that are kind of like in some MMOs where people have to work together to get through the actual dungeon. Like you might have to all stand on the platform at once for the bridge to connect, and then you cross the bridge, and then you all meet up, and then you go down the last chamber together, fight a few harder mobs, and then the boss of the dungeon. That'd be fucking sick, in my opinion. You know, now obviously when you're playing with other people, there could always become, you know, people trolling and stuff. But I think that's going to be a very small part of the content. I think people are going to want to clear it together, and I just think it'd really add an extra, you know, emerging storylines as you're playing with other players in that regard, and have the solo dungeon stuff as well. I think it'd just be a really cool way to build content. I do. That you know, it has levels as well. So there's the casual stuff for the first few levels that everybody can go at and try and beat. And then there's harder levels for the people who want to do it a little bit harder, and that sort of stuff. Resets. The dungeon doesn't change because obviously that'd be too much work. Maybe we get a new dungeon every patch, but the bosses and the mobs change, and maybe there's some extra different puzzles thrown in there. Hey, you know, send me my check, Kuro.
Real here. When playing with CBT,
I also think that one thing she's not hinting at that me and her and other people who play Wuthering Waves like is the end game sort of like combat and the difficulty of it, guys. One of the things I've noticed about Wuthering Waves, though, is that this is a factor that I didn't take into consideration on launch. If you look at one of the main things why Genshin is successful,
Genshin had the COVID buff, and it was the first big proper game gacha, wasn't it? You know, like a proper game. We've always got to take that into account when we talk about Genshin. You know, if Genshin launched today, Genshin wouldn't be the wild success that it was 4 years ago. It had the massive COVID buff. We've got to remember that.
Combat is ridiculously easy, and visually it looks nice. You know what I mean? Now, visually, Kuro Games' combat, it visually looks nice and it is satisfying to play. However, I've noticed that a lot of gacha players, right? Half of them, I would say, about don't even play other games, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And they want to have this like casual, fun experience. And they don't want to go through something that's stressful, hectic, or challenging. And that's one other factor I never took into consideration, that even though we all wanted combat, right? The Wuthering Waves,
again, that's why you have more endgame combat. You have endgame combat that's casual, that you can just clear, that's just fun to do. Then you have the challenging stuff as well. At the minute, we've kind of got the only kind of like sort of semi-casual content is the Elusive Realm, isn't it? And which I think is the most fun. Not because it's more casual. I think it's just more interesting than the other content. I like the holograms. I think the tower's a bit mid. But the Elusive Realm's really good. That's why we need more endgame content that's like, you know, a couple of different endgame content that's designed for casuals that can just play through it, have a laugh, have fun, enjoy it. And then the more hardcore stuff as well, the variety. That's what we need, the choice.
Players, right? I started to understand from the casual standpoint, people just want to have a fun time and chill. The one thing I'm wondering is, when are we going to get a gacha that's like amazingly built up, you know what I mean? And that just advertises more and more co-op. And I know WUA is, you know, doing that with their co-op events now.
I think it's an MMO, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? Yeah? Maybe get an MMO. Maybe play an MMO that's got a gacha element to it.
Stuff like that. But I would want some permanent end game, you know what I mean? For co-op, to play with the buddies or matchmaking, stuff like that. But I don't know. These are just my honest thoughts of the game.
I was also skeptical about the game, and was worried it reached the same state of Endgame. But it really can't be helped, can it? Gacha games, or
Dude, I must say, the way she talks and with these characters is proper cute, though.
win games that have somehow become acceptable in the West just can't be too competitive in the content.
That's true.
Or you'll end up with something like Tower Fantasy, where power creep is endless, and being a multiplayer game has to balance the DPS in raids to largely be dealt through mechanics rather than normal means.
Oh, that is true. She's not wrong.
It wouldn't be too far of a stretch to say that the real endgame in Wuthering Waves is not just 30 out of 30 tower, but rather community focused. Like, just little things such as showing off your builds and Echo RNG, or doing funny clear challenges like solos with unexpected characters. As such, I wanted to do my part in helping to kindle the interest for indulging in what WUA has to offer past the base game. For the next several weeks, I'll be hosting a weekly themed challenge where the fastest clear times, as well as random participants, win some codes that give asteroids, show credits, and more. We'll also review
Is that me? Is that me or Gamba? Or her?
the fastest clear times, as well as random participants, win some codes that give asteroids, show credits, and more.
Okay, it wasn't me. Okay.
We'll also review the best clears on our
Hey, what's going on,
weekly
Apple Boy?
stream on Monday, and watch all the cool tech people cook up.
Yeah, I think her name's
The
Maggie or
first
Maggie.
challenge will be light versus dark.
Cool.
To clear hologram 6 with Havoc Traversal.
That's
In
cool.
these
And
challenges,
Spectro.
there will be no food involved, no energy pre-charging, and no pre-buffing. The full rules, including where to submit runs, can be seen in my Discord. For future characters, there will be some form of balancing to account for different sequence nodes
I must admit, this sort of stuff is fun though. You know, coming up with these sort of community trials, it's kind of cool. It's kind of
and
cool.
weapons. Though it'll be tricky to calculate, we'll figure something out.
All lands out we raised by. Yeah,
These are just
perfect
my
way to do it.
thoughts
So
about the
people
game
can
after
do that sort of
several
content
months.
style if they want, but it just gets
I
scaled down.
wanted to address the good and the bad, and see where we could go next as a community. That's all for now. I'll be looking forward to the submissions for the event.
I might go
See you
subscribe
guys
to
next
her.
time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Definitely great video. Check out Maggie, Woowa TC, Woowa Calx Girl does a really good job. I think she had some great points. I think if you made it to the end of this video and you're wondering, is Wuthering Waves ever gonna go EOS
Click the
or
button,
anything
bro.
like that?
Click it. Subscribe.
No, Wuthering Waves will never be end
Subscribe.
of service. But I think the one thing that all of us kind of misjudges, we thought Wuthering Waves would be super ridiculously popular. Hype is there, and it is still a pretty big game. But ultimately,
End of the day, I don't care how popular the game is. I want to win. I want an enjoyable end game. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter to me how many people agree with me necessarily. Obviously, I want more people to agree because that means that the stuff's good. You know, that by virtue. But I just want some satisfying, fun, engaging end game content that has a bit of variety. That we have daily resets, weekly resets, and then like patch long stuff. You know, other games do that where that and the daily stuff doesn't have to be major. You know, it can be something that's just kind of like a daily at the end of the day. But it's just you've got your dailies, you go in, you do your stuff, you get all your dailies done, and then there's the daily end game stuff where that's a little bit more difficult, but you can clear it in a couple of minutes if you want to. You know what I mean? Or you can challenge yourself in it and take a little bit more time, whatever. And then you've got the weekly sort of stuff where it's a little bit more to it than that. It's probably going to take you a little bit longer. Obviously, there's always going to be the people that are going to clear stuff quick because they don't touch grass and they're just, you know, they're gremling out all day long, which is fine. You can't design the content to avoid that at the end of the day as well.
ultimately, I think Wuthering Waves.
Middle
I think
ground's important,
you
though,
see
isn't it?
Games like ZZZ, the numbers and traction is going down. Wuthering Waves has its ups and downs right now. You know what I mean? I think Wuthering Waves will always still be relevant for the foreseeable future, but I don't think it'll be the biggest gacha game right now. If I was to eye what's after, like aside from HSR, right? And
The next biggest gacha game will probably be some shitty mobile game that you don't like. And then, if we're talking about real gacha games, probably the next big Hoyo game, if I'm honest. You know, the spiritual successor to Genshin Impact. That's, in my opinion, probably going to be the big, massive game that comes soon. Or potentially this shooter open world RPG that's set in the Honkai universe. There's the potential for that to be absolutely massive. Now, don't get me wrong, there might be something that comes out of nowhere and just blows up. But, yeah, I feel like the next massive game probably be a Hoyo game, if I'm honest.
Genshin, but like what's after, like what's the next like HSR level game or higher, right? I'm definitely looking forward towards Azure, Pamelia, Neverness to Everness right now. But let me know your thoughts about everything that she said. Good video by her. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you like this type of content. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on what the state of Wuthering Waves. And I'm out. Peace.
I felt a little bit more like a watch along, actually, really, that did, than a reaction. I think my problem is I don't know how to do reacts. Most people end up just, like, commenting, like, 2 or 3 times. I'll turn a 5-minute video into a fucking 30-minute reaction. You know, I can't help myself. You can always tell when things slow down in War because you get pinged with a limited resource leeches trying to get into your game to do weekly bosses and leave you with nothing. Yeah, I just think like the whole discussion when we talk about you know, is it losing players? I don't understand what metric people are using, in my opinion. What the fuck is this doing? Game opening up between monitors. What the hell? Oh, I have to give me a second because I'm gonna have to game's not in full screen. It's not in full screen, guys. A little. Oop, that's me. Carried away, reacting to videos again. Realised it's off. I left a huge comment on your newest video. Yeah, I'll have a look in a bit, dudes. I will have a look. I'll have a look at Book.
Today's another day, admin. Give it your all.
I will, Amber. Shia. We're in full screen. The game's not full screen though. There we are. Okay, alright, whatever. I hope so because the material will be on the... What did I say then? Do you think what I said about actually giving Crownless massive tits was a good idea? Oh, that might be. Well, I didn't actually say that, you prick. Got him. He's a faker. He's a faker. He sent me a friend request. Awesome. Yeah, man. I hate what's it in? What's the word? Oh, I think I accepted you. I think I got you. This person sent me a friend request. Whoever this is, if you ever watch the videos again, you've got too many friends. I can't add you. You're too popular. Sorry. Alright, let's have a look then. Cooperation agreements. What's my missions for today? Spend the swigs. Spend the swigs. Oh, we got lucky on our first pulls, guys. 20 pulls, 4 S characters. Let's go. We got a copy as well. We got Hades. We got the dude. I don't know. I forgot what his name is. We got a copy of him, and we got the little chick with the axe, and she does Glacier. Kind of cool, actually. I quite like her. What's this? What's this? Is there anything free? Don't think so, no? Right, if it's not free, I don't care. Supplies on. Limited supplies. Dude, it's so ass navigating the menus with a pad. Can't wait till they update the mouse and keyboard controls. Hopefully they do that soon as well. They've already done it in China, yeah. You're blowing your good luck on the run game, dude. You're gonna want to pull for... Bro. I'm all good for Jian swords. My only luck on Wuthering Waves is bad luck. Well, actually, I can't say that. I did get Chang-Li in like 20 odd pulls. Do you know what, though? I hop on things like Zenly Zone Zero, bang, get a character in like 10 pulls, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Come back on Wuthering Waves. I just took another 30 quid on just to get C2 Shorekeeper. I got her, though. I got like 1,000 asteroids now. So we're not totally broke anymore. But it cost me everything. I do want to level up some of the other characters though. I kind of like the team that I've been using at the minute. Is there a way to... Oh, there we go. Daily tasks, spend 100 sweets. Get that. Was that from yesterday? 200 pulls. Dude, it's wild though, yeah. Obviously, you'll get what you want. But it's so fucking wild how fast that shit burns off, and you're like, man. It's like real world money, you know? You work all month, and then a couple of nights later, you're like, fucking hell, it's gone. It's gone.
Nice to meet you.
What we got here? What's this?
I won't stop smiling no matter what. It's only by believing in ourselves that we can make it to the finish line.
That's cool. So when you was talking about doing the Heartlink dossiers, what very first memory. What's this?
Do you remember anything?
No, it's a gacha game. We never have memories.
Still no good. What about her? Do you remember her?
Is it Amber? At this juncture of junctures.
Surely you remember me, don't you? I'm Verdandi.
Verdandi. Verdandi? Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull on Yingling's Rectifier.
Just let it come naturally.
I'm still annoyed that I skipped that. Because it's such a good rectifier.
I checked all the nearby universities. No record found.
I asked Odin. She approved.
Fantastic! And I thought the division would...
A booklet type thing down and smiles at me for what I think must be the first time.
Greetings. My name is Shu. I'm the current director of Division 9 at Aether Gazer.
Aether Gazer. I call it Aether Gazer, don't I? Aether Gazer.
Have you heard of us?
Aether Gazer? Isn't that the largest comprehensive investment company in Einsoft? Recall a memory from somewhere of glancing through their corporate information booklet in a waiting room. You were on the cover of one of the directors.
Good. That saves us some introductions.
Yeah,
the truth is, we have another very particular identity in addition to our Aether Gazer roles. All the members of Division 9 are modifiers.
Somehow I knew she was about to say modifier. The word struck a bell somewhere in my subconscious. I remember the lady, Bethandi, said something about modifiers.
You can relax now. We're modifiers. You're completely safe with us.
Did you say something like that? I could have sworn it. What was I doing before I lost my memory?
Let me cut to the chase. Are you interested in joining us?
Yes.
Those monsters that assaulted you are called Vizbanes. Human beings injured by Vizbanes suffer irreparable, permanent harm. Okay. As far as we can tell, you're the only one who has survived such serious corrosion.
Got, you know.
Yet
that's
here
a weird
you
thing
are.
to be. I suppose I got attracted by something else.
Your body just healed itself. But that doesn't mean you're in the clear. For whatever reason, the Visbane failed to damage your physical form.
I'm a boss.
Yet we do believe they left something inside you. They left some sort of mark in you. As long as it stays, wherever you go, the Visbanes will always be on the hunt for you. In other words, you've become the tastiest morsel they could ever hope to consume.
You mean I'm like the highlighted target to these monsters?
We tried to remove the mark, but failed. We don't exactly have any experience with it since, as I mentioned, no one's ever survived this before. But there's not all bad news. Keeping modifiers around you will significantly dim the effect of this mark. Which means you are safe if you stay around.
Well, obviously, she
Gazer's
definitely benefits
offices.
them, but she's just great for off-field damage, full stop. You know, especially if you're like running a hyper carry. Obviously, I know, like, you know, somebody like Jian or Jinxie, there's other ways to benefit them, but still, good character to just boom, do a thing, get off field, and let your hyper carry kind of do the thing. Like,
not entirely, but if you don't mind, I'd like to fill you in on the details tomorrow at our training facility.
My new companions are obviously concerned about complications from my incident. I just wish I could see some evidence of it all, so this could all feel less weird. The mysterious accident subsequent operations left a giant blank space in my mind where my memory ought to be. It's like I've just woken from a terribly long coma. I take a few steps on my feet, and this alarm provokes more hurried footsteps from behind. I turn to see a lady in long pigtails rush over as if a nurse looking after an elderly patient.
So, you really don't remember me at all, do you?
I know it's a hot take, but I like Yinling more than Changling. I don't think that's really a hot take, to be fair. I'm honest.
It's all right. No, I should be the one thanking you.
Hey, I think I've probably got the hottest take in terms of that sort of stuff. For me, Jinxie clears everybody. I love her gameplay, but I think I really like Gigi, but I think Jinxie might be my favourite waifu in the game. I love her, I do. I think she's awesome.
Thank you for saving me yesterday. Thank you. Even if you can't remember what happened.
As well, Jinxie be the type who'd be like making your hot cocoa and then wrapping Christmas presents. You know, while you're chilling watching the football around Christmas. Made up a whole life for me, you know what I mean?
By the way, you haven't eaten anything all day long.
Good thing is I've got that in real life anyway, so it's all good.
Let's grab a barbecue. On me.
She just doesn't have a dragon, which sucks. The restaurant is in the same street as the Gazer's commercial offices. The lady who introduced herself to me as Vathandi gazes upon the generous helping of meat with succulent longing as if the mere thought of eating it has wiped away all worries from her mind. I, on the other hand, simply stare at the huge platter in front of me, knife and fork in hand, wondering where I should start. The restaurant is not particularly noteworthy, except for the hustle and bustle of patrons coming and going, the impressive commercial district outside, and its size and relative opulence. It seems humanity's frontline warriors against the Visbanes dwell entirely within the Division 9's top floor office. The other 200-odd floors and street are hardly implicated in this grand affair, and the offices themselves are rather pedestrian. I can guess of no other reason than the modifiers don't want to draw attention.
So, do you not like the barbecue?
I pull my meandering thoughts back to the present. Vathandi has not slowed down one bit. She consumes her meat platter with gusto, blue eyes glancing with excited puzzlement in my direction.
I thought a meat platter is just the thing to improve anybody's mood.
Oh man, she's a wifey here. Barbecue sauce?
Huh?
I prefer meat with barbecue sauce. Can you get some for me?
Of course!
Yeah man, straight up wifey here. Vathandi leaps from her seat and rushes over to the counter rather than wait for the staff to respond. I said about plastering barbecue sauce onto my dish, and she looks with uncertainty at my efforts to use my knife.
How do you find it now?
Ooh, yummy.
Really? Wonderful! I hope you're feeling better. You do feel better, don't you? That's all right. All good things will come in time.
Voice acting's pretty decent in this game as well.
Let's just focus on filling ourselves up with great food.
Ver Thandi?
Just ver or ver, please.
Ver or ver? Ver, could you give me a brief rundown on exactly what happened yesterday? I mean, that Vizbane attack and how you all saved me. And what was that you said before about me saving you? Also on the 28th, something big is coming up. Who is that? Is that? I don't know about the patches and stuff on this game, actually. I might have to start looking into some of the content creators and some of the news on Twitter regarding this game, actually. I'm quite alright, just curious, that's all. Because, like, it's all still new to me.
I see.
Like, you know when you first start a gacha game, especially one that's been in swing for a while, you hop on, you're like, I don't even know what all of this is. I don't know what half of this currency is, what these materials are, how do they relate to leveling my character up, what makes my character better, combat rotations, you know, your actual character's skills, and then, like, obviously learning all the different banners and all that sort of stuff. And when I stream, I just take stuff in so much slower as well. I was having a meal with a lady.
Yeah. We saw it on the CCTV footage. You were chatting about a book in a restaurant. You looked really engaged. The name of the book was The Black Goat.
And you were able to get in touch with her? Maybe she knows who I am.
We couldn't. We went through the restaurant's receipts and found out her name
really good
is
Endgame, yeah?
Kay. And you were pen pals meeting for the first time. Yes. After the meal, she paid and then left. And you left afterward. And then, you noticed I was being followed by a Vizbane into an alleyway. That Vizbane was still in disguise as a normal human being, so you must have considered it some creepy stalker.
Oh.
You pushed me away when it launched the attack, and got dragged down to the source layer in my stead. I'm so sorry for getting you involved in all this. Hey, why are you smiling?
Oh, sorry, I just can't believe I would do something heroic like that. You know, there's nothing quite like losing all your memories to make you wonder who you really are. I was worried I might not be a nice person, but from your story, it turns out I'm a bit of a hero who rushes in to save strangers and likes reading. See, you slipped up there. You could have said he rushes in to save beautiful girls, and you could have been like, bing, rizzed up, you know? You fucked up, bro. Anyway, thanks for telling me this and that wonderful meat platter. I'll definitely think about joining your organisation. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Look, I've got a little bit of a reward. Rewards. Bye, mate. Alright, let's do this up a little bit. Has he got 20? I'm curious. Yeah, and then what we have to ascend it. I'm not going to waste too many kills, I'm just curious. Obviously, I'm sure we can get better weapons, yeah? Limit break, so that's basically Ascension, yeah? Okay. So this is the dude who I got from Pools. I got her as well.
Looking for me, little lamb?
And I got her. And I got her. I kind of like her. She's kind of cool, actually. She's only an A tier character, though,
I'm
isn't she?
all set and ready to go.
I approve.
I'm always... Nice to meet you.
Right, let's do this dude up.
The more experience you have, the better.
So I can limit break this dude, yeah. I might as well use him, I because oh, so I can level up my skills here then, yeah.
The best investment is in the tools of one's own trade.
I'm just gonna go to 3 at the minute. I don't want to spend too much on stuff like because I don't know what I'm doing quite at the moment. You know what I mean? So let's. What can I put on here? So this is the best one for him. Equip replace Royal Raid with Royal Blitz. Increases damage and changes attacks. So what will be? Let's just go with this. It's increasing attack, isn't he? Can't go wrong with a flat attack increase, I guess.
A mere pawn.
To start us off with, anyway. Let's enhance this as well. Yeah, fuck it. Let's take another one. Okay, alright. I want to put him on my team. Right, let's go into battle. Dark assembly line. The simulation battle game mode is now available for play. Okay. Is that in supplies, is it? Ah. Oh. Oh, okay, here we go. Simulation battle. We'll change him out because he's a melee, she's a melee. We've got the range and we've got a healer, yeah. Well, that's a good what's it for us at the minute. Alright, let's go. His attacks are kind of unusual because his basic attacks like what you'd think he'd do, and then his skills are kind of different.
I'll put all my energy into this.
Looking forward to our next cooperation. What a pity. That was a misstep.
Hey! Crush them.
Enemy
Be
discovered.
careful with each move.
I can do this.
I need to learn my rotation though properly. I don't quite know what I'm doing with him. I kind of learned what to do with Afandi a little bit. I got how she works. Like I figured it out. Ooh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Victory.
It's fine to level up a good amount of characters. Okay, nice one. Cheers. So what are these for? Is this character XP? Is it them? Gives 1000 mod XP. Okay, mod XP. I'm assuming he's the modifier, so that's character XP. Yeah. Right, let's get a bit of this thing. We're gonna need it to level up characters, aren't we? So we might as well get some.
I'll put all my energy into this.
Looking forward to our next cooperation.
Here, crush them.
Yeah.
What a
Enemy
pity.
discovered. I can do this.
Here.
The ocean gets angry.
Hey.
He's definitely doing way more damage though.
Wide range. Scanning.
Okay, all right.
Enjoy it. This is
You got
your
a really good
victory
look as
well.
Hades. Is she? Okay, yeah, we'll do that then. Yeah, I got him, a copy of him, Hades, and
I'll put
another
all my
character.
energy into
I got like
this.
4 S tier
Looking forward
pools.
to our next
and 20,
cooperation.
20, what is it called?
foolish.
Scans in this, yeah.
That was a misstep.
Hey.
Do this.
The problem, some of his attacks are quite unsafe, aren't they?
Did you hear the waves?
The chessboard is unpredictable.
Here, crush them.
Wide range.
Hey.
Scanning.
Right, let's go.
Enjoy
Quite
it.
like, is it Hodor
This
as
is
well? I think
your
she's kind of
victory as
cool.
well.
She does more damage at range as well, yeah.
Just get it over with.
I'll put all my energy into this.
Looking forward to our next
Got you.
cooperation.
Utterly
Be careful,
foolish.
everyone.
Be careful with each move. That was a misstep.
Hey. Hey.
Ocean gets angry too.
Hey.
Got you.
Ugh. Crush them.
Victories are always worth celebrating.
You just got a flying gun sword thing, whatever it is. So, I'm using energy to do this, yeah. Like, pretty much standard situation, right? Yes, I'm using 10. So, I can knock that up. So, I use 30. And I get a drop of 3. So, have I got 301? Wait a minute, am I gaining? Wait, what? Is that costing me or gaining me?
Just get it over with.
I'll put all my energy into this.
Looking forward to our next cooperation.
Crush them.
What a
Enemy
pity.
discovered.
Hey.
I can do this. It's done. Barely dodged that.
I've got quite a bit of range on that, actually, haven't I?
Here.
That was a misstep.
Hey. Yeah.
Wide range. Scanning.
Enjoy it. This is your victory as well.
Yeah, I got proper streamer look on those first few pulls, I must admit. actually... No, that cost me 20. So was it 3? Was that 380? Okay.
Just get it over with.
I'll put all my energy into this. Hey!
Looking forward to our next cooperation.
Crush them. Utterly
Be careful,
foolish.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can do this.
Hey!
Wide range. Scanning.
Yeah.
That was a misstep.
Hey! 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 Yeah.
I'm gonna stop dodging so early, man. They're gonna roll like game
Enjoy
mode.
it.
It's called dimensional variable.
This is your
Okay.
victory as well.
Can't wait to start figuring out what the deal is. Learning a little bit more about the game. Okay, yeah, so that is okay. All right, cool. We are spending that then. Okay. It's nearly 4. Let's do a little bit more of the story, shall we? All right, let's go. Let's go. At the guy's command room.
Administrator, the information on Spielt
Man, I love
Industries has
Holdo.
been compiled.
Thank you, Holdo.
It's nothing. I'm glad to be of help to those who go into battle. Well then, I'll take my leave. Call me anytime if you need anything, admin.
The files from the intelligence officer sent over after Hodor leaves. How is it, Lord Mimir?
It looks like a normal AGI mecha company at first glance. The founder, Morgan Spielt, started out in the steel industry, then moved the company headquarters to the new industrial area, Alred, in New Hansa. They
So
took
it is New Hansa.
advantage of the transist ore boom at the time to grow quickly. After accumulating enough capital, the Spielt family continued running the business and acquired many local AGI mecha research companies. Then, they officially began to involve themselves in the AGI mecha industry. Through the
His son's
efforts
a bit
of
of a bitch
several
as well, isn't he?
generations, Spielt Industries hired talent, made innovations in technology, and captured the market to become one of the 3 mega companies in New Hansa today. Considering Spielt Industries' size, they had a good reputation until about 3 years ago. There were occasional rumors of bribes paid to leading politicians, but no conclusive evidence was ever brought forward. However,
Oh, damn it, I meant to last. Skipped, however. Oh, I think I just did it in right.
unfortunately for
I
Spielt,
skipped what she
3
was saying then.
years ago, there was an
Or him.
AGI
Or
mecha
it.
riot that shook all of New Hansa. A large number of AGI mechas lost control and went on a rampage. They wandered the streets aimlessly, smashing store window displays and using chainsaws to cut cars by the roadside.
Oh.
The most important thing, however, is that they didn't withdraw after suffering such a blow. Within 2 years of that incident, they launched a succession of AGI mecha that far surpassed the level of their competitors. The convenience of the new
Hey, yo, Cheese,
AGI
what's up, bro?
mecha models appealed greatly to the general public and businesses, and public opinion guided the appeal along. Everyone soon forgot about that incident.
How's it going, brother mine? After such a disastrous incident, they still had the finances to do damage control with public relations and invest in the development of new models on top of that. Sounds suspicious. Did they already develop those models before the incident?
Spielt Industries chairman, Eugene Spielt, has seen a huge increase in his popularity ratings over the past 2 years.
He's the one who was choking that old dude out, yeah.
People now call him the Lion of New Hansa, and they laud his leadership, citing it as an example of how a company can rise again after a crisis. But what exactly had Eugene Spielt done to bring Spielt Industries back from the dead? He has never revealed that to the public.
And that brings us to the dangerous AGI mechas in the factories. They're definitely something to be concerned about.
Don't worry, I will complete my mission. Take my sword. No problem. I'm here. Let's get this done.
Oh, I got staggered to fuck. Oh no, it's doing that fucking shit again.
Between life and death. I will beat you.
I don't know what input it does that. Basically, there's an input apparently that makes it so like it switches back to the mouse and keyboard controls.
Take my sword.
Well, I can't wait for
I shall bury your soul. Take my sword.
wait for them to get the mouse and keyboard control sorted.
One last hit. Yeah.
The power of friendship.
Hiding around like mice. You brats are really getting on my nerves!
The security captain's got some pretty impressive armor and firepower, but it looks like he's having trouble moving around.
See that, little Osie? There's no armor protecting the backs of his knees. Wait for me to distract him, then hit him where it hurts.
Roger that!
Nodding in agreement, Vathande and Asari split up to attack from each side. That's what I want to do at the minute, actually thinking about it. I want to get to a point in a bunch of different gacha games where we've got endgame content. We don't have to get to the point where we're clearing it and doing it like balls deep, but get to it, give it a try, see what it's about on multiple different games. And then like, I kind of want to make some videos talking about that. And potentially in relation to like some of my issues with other waves as well. And get a good feel across the genre as a whole. Where some games are doing it better, and things that could be taken, and you know, things that should be ignored and all that sort of. I was just thinking about that when I was playing that bit then. Easily evading machine gun fire, their swift movements make them look like two phantoms, one red and one green. The exhausted security captain grows increasingly annoyed.
Just die already!
Little O.C. Now! Roger!
Osiris avoids the shots, which are steadily going wild, and throws her weapon to the moment her body touches the ground. The scythe wrapped in unearthly blue sweeps past the target in an arc that is barely perceptible, and it tears a bloody gash in the back of his leg before he can even react, like a wolf in the night. Pussy? With his leg heavily wounded, the security captain fell to the ground with a cry of pain.
Yay! It worked!
You lost, Mr. Security.
You bitch!
They have come a long way.
You pussy! You just got beat up by a girl!
Even the captain couldn't take him out.
So, there's no point in us sticking around, right? How about...
Smart.
No! Don't!
Skew guards are about to sneak away, but a lance suddenly comes sweeping in, blocking their way.
It seems our conversation is not yet over.
I already told you guys all I know!
Take me to your headquarters. I want to personally confirm if Ethan is there.
Oh. But this...
Hey! What's all this racket? What's going on?
Whoa. Boss Ollie, you're finally back!
We gotta fight this dude now. The yellow-haired young man dodges a welcoming hug and tears and peers and slowly walks over, surveying the wretched surroundings with disgust.
The factory that got invaded was factory number 2, right? Why you guys all beaten up?
Oh, watch it! Don't you dare get any closer! Your snot is gonna get on me! Gross! Get away!
It's not just factory number 2. There are intruders here as well.
Intruders?
We're here to investigate what happened at Spielt Industrial Park this morning. Do you know where Ethan is?
Looking for our boss, Ethan. Don't get ahead of yourselves. There are so few of you. Get out of here before I change my mind.
You're just temporary security guards hired by Spielt, right? Tell us what you know, and you might get a more lenient sentence when the Korg tries you in court.
You guys are from the Supreme Directorate?
It's a partnership.
What's so funny?
A partnership? With the Korg? Oh, that's hilarious. Are you guys serious? Trying to scare me with the Korg? Listen up. Those Korg vermin. We children of iron ain't afraid of them. The day will come. We will crush the Korg, and people will call us heroes then.
What's he saying?
Hey, you!
Yeah? Looking for me?
Bring that thing that Boss Ethan picked up from the scrap site last month. Let's use that to have some fun with them.
That thing from the scrap site? What's he talking about?
Robot.
No clue. But I have a bad feeling about this.
Was it a big bot?
Don't worry, I will complete my...
Enjoy it! This is the best thing that's happened
Enjoy
in this
it.
boring factory for months! If you guys can't handle your shit, just let me know, bozos.
I like the fact that there's swearing in this game.
Exterminate.
Super immature of me, I know, but...
Yikes! That ramshackle thing is coming this way!
Watch out. This AGI mecha is different from the others.
I will beat you. Enemies! Watch out!
I shall ferry your souls.
I shall ferry your souls. That's kind of dark. I shall ferry your souls. You mean to the underworld or something? Managed to beat that red level 120, red level 120 Rocksteady and Tethys at the level 70 last night. Let's go. Is that where you're at now? What UL level are you at then now? Meanwhile, in the control room somewhere in Spielt Industrial Park.
Good job with the diversion, 01.
Oh, is this Ethan? The red-haired man brushes his hair and speaks leisurely, as if he is addressing empty air. A red figure leaps off the roof as soon as the words leave his mouth. A woman with tawny hair appears in front of him, dagger in hand. Tawny hair, what does that mean?
Every time you appear like this, it reminds me of our first meeting. You held a dagger to my face.
Me too. The woman called 01 puts the dagger away and surveys their surroundings impassively. Holy cow. Is that skin that's showing there? Oh. She got like a vajizzle strap? Her body's almost all machine. Okay, no, it's not. And she's basically an interwoven tapestry of metal pipes from her neck down. Okay, so it's robot vajizzle. But even this hardy body, which is fully armed, is covered with scratches, small and large. Golden machine oil from broken AGI mecha slips along the curves of her body, dripping from her.
I rarely see you in such a state.
01 flicks machine oil off her dagger and slides it back into the sheath at her side.
What we saw on the upper level was child's play compared to those things below.
Oh. High praise.
Well, you're relaxed. Investigation going well on your end?
Thanks to you buying me a lot of time, but...
And she's got some hips. Ethan suddenly waves.
But I was discovered.
What?
I was discovered immediately, and he even blackmailed me to do his dirty work. Ugh, it's making evacuation operations more risky. What?
So not really like machine oil.
Ethan.
Calm down. Put your dagger away. I was caught, but I didn't say that the investigation failed.
Ethan awkwardly pushes away the dagger that 01 is pointing at him. He walks slowly to the lamplight. The light of the control room reflects off his body. Under his coat is a body of silver metal, all mechanical, just like 01.
I looked into it. The modification being done here is not related to the mystery of our bodies.
Like Deus Ex, suppose?
It was a dead end again, but at least we've confirmed that we won't go crazy like those crappy AGI mechas and bite people or something.
Oh, that's what they're looking for then, because they're modified as well.
That farce you've been playing at these past few years hasn't made you forget your original goal, I hope.
Huh. I certainly won't forget what I promised you. Our goal is the same.
You should know the consequences for wasting my time.
Tawny-haired girl throws the harsh words at him calmly, disappears abruptly into the shadows. Hold up, chat. I'm just gonna go pee. I need a slash. I need a piss. Manga's over. He's a mid-game boss.
What a terrifying woman.
Don't worry, I will complete my mission.
I'm probably going to start checking out some of the content for this game now, like, you know. See what the deal is.
I've done my part. Awaiting instructions.
Take my sword. I will beat you.
Tag team!
I'm a little nervous.
I know what it is now.
But I'll do
Probably
my
won't be
best.
on again tonight. Rosie's got doctors at 7, so I think we're going to go doctors. And then I think she wants to pop to IKEA as well. See about getting a new office chair. She's using a gaming chair at the minute. She doesn't like it, so
I shall ferry
get her a
your
new
soul.
chair, I think. Dude, that's so dark the way she says it. I shall ferry your souls. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be double dipping, I think, because we'll probably play some more of this. We're going to play some other waves tomorrow as well. Bash it out, like, you know what I mean? Bash it out.
A wise choice.
Alright, buddy, and you, man.
Formatting complete. Registering supervisor identity. Registration complete. Eugene Spielt has been confirmed as the new supervisor of the AI Alphas. The system's highest permissions are being transferred.
That blockhead Jolin nearly ruined my plans.
become someone else's puppet.
System permissions reauthorized. Awaiting supervisor's orders.
Halfas, take inventory of the AGI mecha reserves in the underground levels and transfer their command to me.
Data integration in progress. Please stand by.
Well, look, this dude's gonna
Eugene,
get murked.
Why are you still here? Didn't I tell you to arrange for the AGI mecha transfer?
If these things are found, you know what will happen, right?
The tone you're using with me is getting more and more undisguised, Novi. What? Do you understand what's going on right now? Don't forget that Spielt only lent you this place for your production base. I never said you are the owner. Spielt Industries is mine. What are you doing? Kalphas, seize this guy, now!
A short man named Novik stamps his feet in anger and shock and shouts towards a control screen. However, the AI ignores his shouts.
Put nicely, it's a central control AI that manages production in Spielt Industries. But it's actually a spy, planted here to steal control, isn't it? Did you think I'd be unprepared for this trick of yours? Halfas, deal with him.
Roger. Security system activated.
Wait!
Hatch opens again and a horde of AGI mechas pour into the control room, instantly forming an impenetrable circle.
Novi, I'm actually quite grateful to you, and the people behind you, for helping Spielt in its time of crisis. So, I'll make sure to give you a proper burial.
Damn, bro, you fucked.
Burial. For me.
What? Wait! Halfas, what are you doing?
What? A wall of AGI mecha suddenly marches forward and the circle around the two shrinks smaller. Novich is soon squeezed out of the circle.
Why is this happening? Novich! What did you do?
Formatting. What a joke. Halfas, are you still gonna keep up this pretense?
Honestly speaking, if I weren't afraid of my master's wrath, I was going to finish you just now.
Hey, don't mix personal feelings with business.
Electronic voice that had been speaking mechanically suddenly switches to a very different tone.
Halfas, you're not an AI?
Imitating AI for years really did a number on me.
Holy shit, dude, that's you know, that's leaning into your work hard. Like, damn.
But having inferior creatures yell at me for so long has pushed me to my limits.
The voice acting's good in this game.
What the hell are you?
Stop wasting your breath on him. You getting interested in talking with humans after staying here for so long?
The AGI mechas in the circle suddenly turn to Novich, making the short man shivers.
What do you guys want? I know you still need me to deal with the media and officials. You still need me.
We do need a pawn. But after what happened this morning, there's no use for this place anymore. What a pity, Eugene. If you transferred the AGI mechas like a good boy, you might not have been disposed of so quickly.
Order received. Eliminating target.
Get away from me! This is my company! I am the master of your metal buckets!
Target point reached. Commence clearing.
Oh yes. Let me tell you a secret.
The man mouths something to Eugene, who is being almost swallowed by the AGI mechas. In that instant, his pupils, which had lost colour, suddenly enlarged.
You!
Looking into those bloodshot eyes overflowing with hatred, Novich curves the corner of his mouth in mirth. Was that like a...
What I appreciate most is this mix of anger and despair and deep sense of helplessness that humans have. Even the best wine kept in the cellar for years cannot compare with such a scene.
Who's this geezer then?
Novich, there is still something you have to do, isn't there?
Ah, yes. The activating procedure has been initiated. It's too late to evacuate, so let's take this opportunity to test their power. The Great One has already agreed to it. Prepare well and surprise those upstart rats.
Just get it over with.
The betrayer betrayed.
I'll put all my energy into this.
Looking forward to our next cooperation.
Hey!
Utterly foolish.
Yeah.
Did you hear the waves?
Checkmate is guaranteed.
Hey! Yeah!
Wide range. Scanning.
You fucked. I need to do Hades upload, don't I? Oh, I can only have the troll team. Okay. Alright.
Taken serious damage. Restart, fail, build.
Done. This AGI mecha looks all tattered, but it's unexpectedly powerful.
Its structure is very different from the AGI mechas we encountered before. It looks like its initial design was meant for warfare. But why is something like this here?
How did it end up like this? I won't be able to fix it. It took so much effort to salvage only a few that can be used. You guys...
Salvage? Does this mean there are more of these AGI mechas?
Where did you get these AGI mechas from?
Boss Ethan intercepted the truck carrying scraps to the furnace. We got it from there.
Why are you talking to them, you idiot?
Oh, I
didn't see this model on the assembly lines. Is this something that Spielt is manufacturing in secret?
Shut up! This is what's going on. So you guys should just wise up.
After seeing that, you still want to stand in our way?
Ha! You're gonna compare me with those dilapidated machines?
Boss Ollie, our rate of victory in simulated battles was just 50%.
Shut it! Whose side are you on? I won't go easy on you. I will show you what the Children of Iron can do.
Here he goes again. Mr. Security and his blabbing. Does Mr. Security know that people saying such words will usually be beaten hard?
She's savage.
I'm a little nervous, but I'll do my best.
Okay, you fools over there. Time to pack up and go home.
Alright. Olheim. Boss Ollie.
I saw that coming already. Take my sword.
Never underestimate. Excellent timing.
No problem. Just a hair's breadth between life and death.
Take this. Take my sword. Modified mode. Engage.
Follow my lead.
I shall bury your
This
soul.
is getting fun.
I've done my part.
Cheeks spread flat. Whack. After several rounds, the rookie squad gradually gained the upper hand. Though Olheim managed to take a full force of Earth Andy's hack, it still weighed him down.
Stop!
What's wrong?
If you want to surrender, take us to your headquarters.
Or do you want to
Take
keep
us to
fighting?
your leader. The Thandi put Titan's grip as she speaks.
No need. Please move your blade away.
Nathandi smiles when she gets the response she's looking for and moves the blade away. Pressure release. Olheim falls to the ground on his bottom.
I can take you to our headquarters, but you won't necessarily get anything, even if you find the boss Ethan.
You already knew of the anomalies in these AGI mechas, but didn't care?
We made sure they wouldn't attack us. That's enough. Besides, Eugene didn't ask where we came from. It's just somewhere for us to hide. So it's good as long as we're all clear on that.
Even so, we need to see Ethan in person.
Ah, I see. I'll take you guys there.
No more tricks.
Got it. Got it. I'll just...
And gets to his feet, but his right hand moves sneakily behind his waist.
As if I'd admit defeat? You bunch of fools!
What did he just do? Flashbang.
What's going on? I can't.
Did we just get
It's a stun
flashbang?
grenade. Cover your ears.
Shoe was sorry, is what
The
happens.
comms are affected by the great noise. I had to turn it off.
Bye, Korg dogs!
Hey, dummies! Time to retreat!
Oh, okay. But didn't Boss Ali say he would teach them a lesson for us? Don't ask too much. It's good to be able to get out of here safely.
These gods are dense as fuck, aren't they?
See you later!
Wait. Stop. My head. So dizzy.
Stop chasing, Ver. Something's wrong.
Execute mission. Eliminate target.
Execute mission. Eliminate target.
Of all the times to arrive.
I'm a little nervous, but I'll do my best.
I've done my part. Awaiting instructions.
Enemies!
I'll
Watch
open
out!
a path for us.
I shall ferry your souls.
Order received. Stop current action. Stop action. Stop action.
Huh?
They all stopped.
The AGI mechas that were attacking furiously suddenly put away their weapons without any signs and retreated to the opposite of the team.
I don't know what's going on, but we seem to be safe for now.
I think there is some minor translation issues here and there. I don't know if it's necessarily translation or just like mistakes.
Ludlosi? Miss Shu? Look over there.
Look in the direction of Athandi. He's pointing and see an old man in a white lab coat standing on the observation platforms on the second floor. Oh, did he help us out? Jolene.
Is that a new enemy?
Wait, Ver. It looks like he's the one who stopped these AGI mechas.
Why? You guys were the ones who came here.
Huh?
This is all the Supreme Directorate sent? How did you expect to deal with those things?
Sir, could it... Were you the one who wrote that anonymous letter?
The aim of that incident in the morning was to remind Korg of the dangerous potential of these AGI mechas. Though, it seems it wasn't taken seriously.
He has a symbol on his chest. A medal denoting that he's a grade 6 engineer. A position that less than 10 people in the whole of New Hansa hold. If my guess is right, you must be Jolin Lyer, Spielt Industries' chief engineer who retired 3 years ago. Is that right?
Retired. Is that what Eugene told the public? Well, it's basically true.
Jolene looks at the AGI mecha on the ground and sadness emerges on his face.
Spielt Industries
He
no
cares about
longer
the
has
robots,
a
doesn't he?
need for a useless person like me. It has been very shameless for me to stay here.
Jolin pulls a handle next to him, and the platform under his feet moves to send him down from the second floor.
My system authority can only hold them for a while. Go back. You won't be able to take on the truth that lies before you.
Mr. Chief Engineer, do you know what happened here?
Mr. Jolin doesn't seem to trust us.
Kinda makes sense.
New command received. Reboot in progress.
Too late.
What? Why are they recovering so quickly?
The lights on the AGI mechas that just retreated glow a deep red like a warrior that received an order. They rise to their feet, limbs trembling.
Ah! They're heading this way again.
And they're angry.
Eliminate intruders. Glory to Spielt Industries.
Ver, Osiris, protect Mr. Chief Engineer.
So much of Spielt is under their control now.
I'm a little nervous, but I'll do my best.
The VA for her kind of sounds like the VA for what's the character in Snowbreak, the shotgun character? I forgot her name.
The wind's rising.
Great! Keep on the offensive!
Awaiting instructions.
Take your positions. This is not a drill.
Take my sword!
I'll open a path for us.
I shall ferry your souls.
Let's get this done! Don't worry, I will complete my mission.
Anything can happen during battle. Stay.
I've done my part.
Let's get this done!
I'll take care of this.
Take this!
It's the enemy. Their souls seem
Next
to be
target.
suffering greatly.
Take my sword! I will beat you! Take my
I
sword!
do quite like Ver's rotation though. Feels satisfying, especially on a pad.
I'll open a path for us.
Can't wait till I can use
Ferry your souls.
mouse and keyboard though when they update this and get the client patched to allow mouse and keyboard to work properly. The incoming AGI mecha is split in two horizontally by Vathandi. The last AGI mecha falls, and there is only a pile of AGI mecha scrap left in the sorting room.
You cut them all down. Who are you people?
We're from
do.
Aether Gazer. Oh, people of New Hansa may not have heard of us.
The largest investment company in the Einsoft district. I've heard of it. Spielt Industries also occasionally accepts production orders from other Zephyra Zone clients. And we have worked with your company in the past. It seems there is more to you, too.
Mr. Jolin, do you know what's going on in Spielt Industries?
You know about the AGI mecha riot 3 years ago, right? To undo the damage caused, Eugene made a deal with an outsider organization and received technical assistance through cooperating with them.
Oh, so that's how he made the company come back then. Made a deal with the devil, so to speak.
An outside organization?
They claimed to be from a Zephyra zone outside of New Hansa. They didn't ask for a split of shares nor a cut, just to keep this deal secret, and to provide them with a site for research and the mass production of AGI mecha.
That's really suspicious.
Right?
Even if they provided a technology list, new production sites still needed to be built to do research for mass production. So Eugene felt that it was a good deal. Their technology can make the same amount of transist ore give 4 times the output. This solved the problem of the AGI mecha chip power consumption. Everyone, me included, was delighted with this amazing technology. We didn't realize. How could such an unbelievable piece of technology appear in this era? Later, because of the automation changes, all production work did not require human labor anymore. Eugene cut the staff down to retain just the core researchers and did not allow anyone to study the mysterious transist ore technology.
That technology, is it the reason why AGI mecha now attack people?
I noticed it a year ago. And Eugene, he should have discovered it earlier than me. The huge jump in the transist ore energy conversion rate. The small chips that can carry advanced AI computation power. These are not technological advances. They inserted something terrifying into the AGI mecha.
Bane energy.
Then, you mean... All of Spielt Industries' products sold over the
These guys
past
can,
few
like,
years
flick a switch.
are
and order
AGI
66,
mechas that have
everybody.
been modified with this technology?
But after the AGI mecha riot 3 years ago, there were no more rumors of Spielt products having safety issues.
This is also why we noticed so late. They did make some improvements to the design of the structure, and we thought the improved efficiency could be due to that. The initial modifications were controlled, and only applied to special models, or small functional modules. What ran out into the industrial park in the morning was a product with an extended range of applications that they made a year ago.
What do you know about the people of that organization?
Eugene has always dealt with them personally. A representative comes to the factory occasionally to make inspections. I think his name is Novich.
Novich.
He's a bad man.
Mr. Jolin, where is Eugene Spielt now?
Brown bread in it.
Eugene. He should be in the underground control room.
Underground again.
Host.
That's also the place where you provide AGI mecha production for that organization, right?
Correct. No one other than Eugene is permitted in there. His father entrusted me to take care of Eugene and Spielt Industries before he died. Eugene has been reluctant to suspend cooperation with that organization. I hoped that he would, but a few days ago, I heard the security guard moving the transist ore mention that the numbers they have been transporting this month keep increasing. Eugene had even used some black market channels to purchase them.
Doesn't Spielt Industries have a fixed contract with the mines?
It's probably because he was afraid that the sudden increase in purchases would draw attention.
I checked the factory's data and found that the AGI mecha production output doesn't match the power consumption at all. This has been happening since the start of the year.
Something big, is it?
Is there any problem with this?
To put it plainly, this sudden production capacity that Spielt has is not being used on the usual AGI mecha products that are being sold.
Ah, so is this what Mr. Olheim?
If this extra batch of energy consumption is converted according to past samples of AGI mecha production, it's about 4,000 units.
4,000! Hey, this is
Oh,
serious.
there's secret buttons on.
If that's true, this is equivalent to secretly building a legion of AGI mecha underground in Spielt Industries.
Mr. Jolin, do you know how to get there?
Go through that main door, then go straight. There will be an elevator that goes to the lower levels. But it's also the base for their security team. Eugene paid them a lot of money to guard that place.
We just so happen to have a score to settle with them.
Mr. Joel and the AGI mechas here have become very unstable. You better come with us for your own safety.
Thank you. But there is no need to worry about me. I've worked in Spielt Industries for decades, so I know how to protect myself. There is one more thing, however. If you meet Eugene, can you keep him safe for now?
It might be too late for that, mate. I think it might be too late.
He's just too afraid of failure. That's why he made that deal with them. Keep him alive, at least. Let him atone for his mistakes.
Welcome.
I promise you that we will keep the Spielt chairman safe, so long as he doesn't get in the way of our mission.
Don't worry, I will complete my mission.
Never underestimate. Excellent.
Great!
Awaiting instructions.
Take my sword!
Hey, bitch.
It's the enemy. Their souls seem to be suffering greatly.
Take my sword!
100 against 1.
Feels like I've made another step forward.
Hey, let's go. Rookie access to the Aether code system is now open. Time to choose an appropriate combat style for you. What?
Nice to meet you.
Aether codes are part of the powers granted to modifiers by Gaia, and they correspond to how they use their adjustments to Aether codes can grant modifiers various battle. Oh, is this kind of like traces then or something, is it? Code imprinting can boost modifier skills and their effects. The non-dot damage of Ray Chaser's slash is increased by 30%. Each modifier can be imprinted with up to 3 Aether codes. Aether codes can be removed or replaced. Oh, okay. So we can kind of like have a specific style of play there. So like, what could you like go? You know, like if you want to do just one on all of these, or you could like branch out to do 3 on the one. Aether codes can be imprinted as soon as they are unlocked. You can choose the ones you believe best suit your, I'm guessing, style. Okay. So what's this one do? The mod index multipliers for Sword Shade and Ray Chaser Slash are increased by 50%. When in 0 time, increases damage by 6%. That's kind of good then for dodges, isn't it?
How do I describe it? It feels
so Ray
like
Chaser's
touching
slash is increased by 30%, but that's just the straight up flat damage, not the dot damage. Okay. So which one's Ray Tracer slash then now? Rapid stab, swift slash, sword shade. Does it become Ray Slicer slash when it's upgraded? Is that what it is? Stabs forward a certain distance, dealing physical damage to enemies in the path. Replaces rapid stab with daybreak after it's cast 2 times. Daybreak deals physical damage. Okay, here we go. Unleash light blades towards the enemy, dealing physical damage. Resets a CD of skill 1. Clears all runic marks. If the skill hits an enemy with a runic mark, when Divine Grace is at max, the skill is replaced by Ray Tracer Slash. Ray Tracer Slash expends all Divine Grace to use all summoned swords in a wide area, dealing area attack, dealing physical damage, increase skill crit rate significantly, and reset the CD of skill 1. Okay, so that's when it's upgraded, yeah.
Oh yeah! Progress, progress, progress!
Okay, I'm gonna go 2 world at the minute, I'd say. What's this, Transcend? Okay, we take her up to an A then.
I did it! So this is what Transcendence feels like.
Attack up, defense up, and max HP up. Okay. So I'm assuming if we upgrade her to like an S, she's not like exactly the equivalent of a true S pull like.
I'm always here.
Okay, we haven't got any codes for her, have we?
I approve.
What about him? There we go. When the king that corresponds to the Sword of Rook is on the field, casting Gambit also inflicts stun on enemies hit for 4 seconds. Yeah, I need to look about how his skills work a second here. Okay, his normal attack. Use a great sword to continuously attack the enemy, dealing light damage. Grants max traces when entering the battlefield. Okay. Switches to another great sword type and deals light damage to enemies nearby. This skill may also be cast by tapping on the skill button during a normal attack. Ah. So it can be attack and then tappy. Okay. Doing so does not interrupt the normal attack or cause damage either. However, the remaining CD is shortened. Ah, interesting. Great swords are switched in the following order: Sword of Knight, Sword of Rook, then Sword of Queen. Right, okay. Brings the great sword down on the target, dealing light damage. Skill cast also grants the king mark corresponding to the type of great sword used and places a king on the battlefield. When the king is on the field, tap to cast a skill again. The trace expended in the process to launch a specific attack depending on the greatsword type in question. Marks. In the process of dealing light damage, a skill cast inflicts shackle on the enemy. Deals additional damage when cleaving down on the enemy from above. The quantum of the additional damage is based on the number of king marks expended. Shackle is removed from the enemy upon hit. Okay. I've still got to figure out what exactly that means. That still doesn't mean that much to me at the moment, but obviously I'm still learning what the game's all about, you know? This terminology really doesn't mean much to me at the moment. But it sounds kind of cool. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to best use his skills just yet, if I'm honest. I'm not going to lie. But I want to learn them, because he definitely is more powerful than the other chick. Should we level up Hades a little bit?
I approve.
Looking for me? These records are quite fascinating.
Mintha has learned many new things. And Luke, too.
Oh, how adorable!
How adorable! Well, that's using a lot of them, isn't he? Fuck it, let's do it. Chat's telling me she's good. I believe chat. Increased damage dealt by 12% when mod has at least 25, but no more than 75 Divine Grace. Increase the crit rate and crit damage effects granted when entering Dance Duo mode by expending Chthonic marks by 2. I don't know, to be fair. I'll just put that one on for the time now. I mean,
I approve.
Looking for me, little lamb?
It's insane that the weapon actually is like the dolls. I like the differences in the weapons. Quite a lot of variation in the weapons. It's kind of cool, actually. Alright then, yo, chat. I'm gonna have to call it there, though, man. I've got to go get Rosie from work, and has got to get to the doctors in a bit. So there'll be no stream this evening. I will be back tomorrow, though. We'll be playing more of this. We'll be playing some Wuthering Waves as well. We will be double dipping tomorrow, though. There'll be 2 streams. Daytime stream and an evening stream. You're more than welcome to come hang out. But guys, if you haven't already, quick plug. I did upload a video earlier on. It's the pinned comment on both Twitch chat and YouTube chat. Go check it out. Show it some love. It's much appreciated. And let me know what you think in the comment section. And I will see you all tomorrow, or hopefully have a new video up tomorrow. Trying to get that daily content at least 5 times to 6 times a week as well. Sundays usually skip, depends if there's anything that we want to put up. And yeah, man, come over to YouTube if you're on Twitch, check out the videos, and if you're on YouTube, like the content. I appreciate your faces, and I'll see you all a little bit later. If I don't see you tomorrow, guys, have an amazing rest of your week. All right, I love your faces. Cheers.
What will we do after?